Good morning, racers and race fans, and welcome to round number 2 of the 2025-2026 Sunday Fun Day Race Series as a part of X Racing here at Steeplechase Ski Resort in Mazeppa, Minnesota. My name is Zach Bailey. I'm joined in the booth today by Dan Bailey, where we are coming back for day number 2 of racing action and starting things off strong over on our little track with our 120 improved stock and 120 stock classes.
These are classes designed for the youngsters. In the 120 improved stock class, we have Nolan Schrader from Faribault, Minnesota, riding the 161, and Elliot Mossman from Sauk Center, Minnesota, on the Crazy J's Bar and Grill Engel Electric 292.
In the 120 stock class, the 7 of Peyton Schultz and the 10 of Bentley Schultz are coming out of Zimmerman, Minnesota.
Foley, Minnesota's Podin Nelson will be atop the Shima Exteriors, Jaeger Construction, Osseo Nickel Coffee Shop 25B, and Felix Ryan from Millville, Minnesota, is riding the 107.
The 126 of Riley Stanek out of Zimmerman, Minnesota, along with Sorona's Finnegan Mickelson piloting the 444.
Finnegan's sister Amelia Mickelson, also from Sorona, will be atop the 555. Designs 709. You can see we've already had our first white flag, and now we have our first checkered flag on the micro track at the top of Steeplechase Ski Resorts. It will be the number 10 of Bentley Schultz taking the first checkered flag of the morning. On the micro track, a tough morning for Podin Nelson on the 25B there. As you can see, Podin had gotten off in the north turn of the micro track. Now we will clear the micro track of those racers, and we will turn our attention to the big track. We are atop the Steeplechase Ski Resort in Mazeppa, Minnesota, and we're throwing a curveball to the racers. Last night, for round number 1, on a wind-swept, frigid Saturday evening, we ran this track in counterclockwise formation. Today, we are turning things around. We're going to run it clockwise, which means while the start-finish line will be in the same place, we will be heading first into the West End High Banks for the first turn. Then we will be heading down the straightaway to the Send It Squeeze, coming back up around what was turn number 1 last night. It'll be turn number 3 today, onto the Hail Mary Highway for the main straight and the finish line. So here is our starting lineup for our first race on the big track. It'll be our 200 stock 9 to 12-year-olds.
Starting off, we'll have the 16 of Ringgold, Wisconsin's Alex Lane, sponsored by Snap-on Tools, alongside Liam Peterson racing the Speedworks and Motorsports, number 23 out of Lino Lakes, Minnesota.
From St. Michael, Minnesota, on the number 56, we'll have Rory Kimball with Isla Borgshots from Big Lake, Minnesota, atop the 398.
On the 612 out of New Ulm, Minnesota, it's the Uncle Mark Sled Parts racer Jace Wurzberger. And on the 708 from Litchfield, Minnesota, it's JC Carlson.
The Storley family from Elko, Newmarket, Minnesota, well represented in the 200 stock 9 to 12-year-old class. Henrik will be on the 910. Everett will be on the 939, both showing support from Arctic Cat, Climate Services, and Stray Cat Racing.
And rounding out our 9 sled field in the 200 stock 9 to 12 class, out of Prior Lake, Minnesota, it's going to be this Custodio Home Group Sledhead Racing Twin Cities Featherlight Trailer Sales, number 989 of Tyler Custodio.
So that'll be the starting lineup for our 200 stock 9 to 12-year-old class. Those racers are over in staging at this point in time, preparing for our first race on the big track here at Steeplechase Ski Resort. Zach, as we were here last night on the windy and frigid Saturday night season opener of the X Racing Sunday Fun Day program, we saw a lot of great action, and we saw a lot of racers having a lot of fun here at a new facility and a new track for X Racing this year.
Exactly. Brand new facility for us to be running at. We're at a different track last year for the 2024-2025 season. First started to come over here for just a couple races this year. It was initially going to be, had some schedule changes early on in the year, so decided to come out for a fully fledged season at Steeplechase Ski Resort. What started this weekend as having 3 weekends of events, we found out yesterday that we have recently added a 4th weekend of events as well. So we're here here this weekend, December 13th, 14th for rounds 1 and 2, and then the newly added January 3rd and 4th races, we will be back for rounds 3 and 4. Following that, a couple weeks later, January 17th, 18th, we will be back for rounds 5 and 6, and we will tentatively round out our season here February 21st, 22nd for rounds 7 and 8.
Zach, we saw a lot of excitement from racers last night in the season opener. They liked the facility, they liked the track, and already some whispers about wishing they could come back for even another weekend, so we will see if that will happen or not. You can see that we do have the groomers out on the track right now. This will give us a short opportunity to roll some sponsor footage, and we will be back with live green flag action from the Steeplechase Ski Resort with X Racing's Sunday Fun Day program.
AmRamp Accessibility, our goal is to help people, and that means providing them with the best quality product and service possible. Built with powder-coated steel, our ramps are stronger and longer lasting than those built with wood or aluminum. Installed in a matter of days to ensure your safety as quickly as possible, our teams are here for you.
I can get out.
Yeah, much easier. Better, a lot better. Yeah. Right.
I don't even have the words to explain how much easier it is. We're just so thankful for it, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Find your forward with AmRamp Accessibility today. Learn more at amramp.com.
Every great journey begins with a trusted guide. And when it comes to finding your perfect home, there's no one better than Kathy Vetter. With over 10 years of experience and a passion for real estate, Kathy Vetter helps you find the perfect home, a peaceful country retreat, a cozy single-family house, or your very first step toward a lifetime home. She also specializes in commercial real estate, guiding you through every step of the way. From the heart of the metro to the scenic countryside, Kathy Vetter knows the Minnesota market inside and out, committed to finding the perfect fit for you, no matter where you are. Buying your first home can feel overwhelming, but with Vetter by your side, it's a smooth and exciting journey. She makes first-time buyers feel confident, supported, and understood, every single step of the way. From your first showing to handing over the keys, Kathy Vetter works tirelessly to ensure you get the home you've always wanted. Kathy Vetter, your trusted real estate expert across Minnesota. From vibrant metro living to serene countryside escapes to agricultural and commercial spaces. Let her help you unlock the door to your next chapter.
Painful steps shouldn't be part of your daily routine. At Foot and Ankle Clinics, PA, we specialize in diagnosing and treating a wide range of foot and ankle conditions, from heel pain and bunions to diabetic foot care and sports injuries. Our board-certified podiatrists, Dr. Jeff Pellercells and Dr. Russell John Hill, bring decades of experience and a compassionate approach to every patient. At our clinic, we are dedicated to serving the community with the highest level of care. Your well-being is our top priority. Serving the communities of Woodbury, West St. Paul, and Edina, we're committed to providing personalized care tailored to your needs. Don't let foot or ankle pain hold you back. Visit footandankleclinics.com to schedule your appointment today.
Freight is the backbone of the country, and as long as people need goods, they're going to need somebody to get it to them. My name is Matt Bohl with QualityFreightRate.com, powered by T-Force Worldwide. We provide LTL, truckload, and expedited freight services across this country. If your freight weighs over 120 pounds going over 120 miles, that's where my shipping rates kick in. We help companies ship easier for less. With our system, our customers are able to quote and book shipments with ease 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're having trouble with damages, lost freight, claims of any sort, we can help you with our experience, solve the problem, tell you why it's happening and what you should do to prevent it in the future. Me and my team have been together for over 20 years. We know this industry. We can help all size business, big or small. We love them all, but we have a special spot for small business. Small businesses are pillars in the community. Low rates are critical for a small business because the margins are generally pretty small. They need to have competitive rates. They can't be getting gouged or they lose the sale. Freight is simple. People make it difficult. We work as consultants in the industry, so it doesn't matter what your problem is, we'll solve it. We educate the customers, we solve problems, and we lower their shipping rates. And that's what I've been doing for 20 plus years.
When you push your engine to the limit, on the track, the farm, or the highway, only one name delivers unmatched protection. Schaefer's specialized lubricants. With over 180 years of proven performance, professionals don't guess. They trust Schaefer's. And in our region, there's one guy who makes it happen. William Denzer. Racers, farmers, fleets. They all call William because he's reliable, knowledgeable, and gets results. So support the brands and people who support racing. Call William today, 651-253-0999, or email denzer.schaefer.sales@gmail.com. Schaefer's, trusted since 1839. Power in every drop.
My two passions in life is racing and selling good high-end meat. So my grandfather came here from Germany back in the late 20s. He decided to open his own shop in 1951. He had all the recipes, he had all the talent. His father was a meat guy. His father's father was a butcher. They weren't football players, basketball players. They were in the meat business. And that's our family. That's what we're good at. Old World Meats was derived from Frank's Meats. That was my grandfather's name. I know the quality of my beef is the best because I've purchased it directly from the ranchers that certified Angus beef. We know what our beef is continuously, and it's very consistent. So we're located up here in Duluth on beautiful Lake Superior, just a stone throw off of Highway 61. I've lived here my whole life, and it's where I wanted to raise my family. To be successful, you need to have a talent. And I knew I was going to be in the meat business. I can taste spices, I can pick out flavors, where they need to come in, where they need to stop. So knowing your strengths are important and knowing where you came from. We have a hot snack stick that's got actually 8 different spices of heat in that, and it layers the flavors in the heat. That's what makes the difference with our product. The most exciting part was becoming coast to coast with the Old World Meats snack sticks. My neighbor stopped me on the street and said, "Paul, I was just down in Georgia and this gas station had your product." It was one of the highlights of the year. I don't know of a state at this point that we haven't had product in. Being in business in a small town really puts things into perspective. It's the little things for me to be appreciated and respected. So this whole operation here, it doesn't have to be the biggest, but it needs to have passion. And today, I'm changing lives of people that work with me. My guys are learning lifelong skills and values. That's the good stuff. Let's make the world a better place. Let's have a good time at it.
Welcome back to Sunday Funday racing action here at Steeplechase Ski Resort in Mazeppa, Minnesota. I am Zach Bailey, joined in the booth here by Dan Bailey, as we are getting ready to send out our first set of races onto the big track here. We went through our lineup a little earlier on, but just as a quick run through before we get back to some green flag action, we have the 16 of Alex Lang, 23 of Liam Peterson, 56 of Rory Kimball, 398 of Isla Borg, shots. 612 of Jace Wurtzberger, JC Carlson on the 708, Henrik Storley on the 910, the 939 of Everett Storley, and Tyler Custodio piloting the 989. 9 racers heading into race number 2 of the morning.
For those of you in the pit area, this is race number 2 on our schedule, 200 stock 9 to 12. In staging, we'll be looking for race 3 competitors, Junior Ditchbanger 10 to 13, Kids Ditchbanger 8 to 12, and Junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17, as well as race number 4 competitors, which will be our Pro 206 and Super 225 kids classes. Right now, though, 200 stock 9 to 12 on the start line, as we're trying to make sure that all of our sleds are ready to rock and roar for our first action on the big track, round number 2 of X Racing Sunday Fun Day program at Steeplechase Ski Resort in Mazeppa, Minnesota.
Another quick reminder for all of our racers in the grandstands. If you had any friends or family members who weren't able to make it out today, we are live streaming today's events for free on mbtvsports.com and through the affiliated MBTV Sports YouTube and Facebook pages. So feel free to send that link over. For those of you live streaming right now, welcome to Steeplechase Ski Resort. Being able to watch the racing action from the comfort of your warm home on such a chilly day is great to have, and we are just about ready to go green flag racing. Starter is checking the line of 9 racers, making sure everyone is all set and ready to go. Green flag flies, and we are racing.
Have a nice drag race down into the West End High Banks, and then they will drop down into the Black Diamond Drop before they have to climb back up to this light left-hand turn that then sends them into the Send It Squeeze, which is at the east end of this lima bean-shaped oval. Here they have a bit of a climb up through turn number 3. They continue that climb onto the Hail Mary Highway before they get to the finish line, and that will complete one lap in our 200 stock 9 to 12 class.
We've got a nice 2-rider battle for first and second and 2-rider battle for third and fourth. The 939 of Everett Storley currently out front. The 16 of Alex Lane hot behind in second, and then in that battle for third and fourth, the 989 of Tyler Custodio giving some work with the 612 of Jace Wurtzberger.
Watch these youngsters as they come up the main straightaway, head towards the finish line to complete another lap. There's that 3-rider battle for third, fourth, and fifth. A couple of riders just now making their way into the Send It Squeeze just outside the top 5.
Some nice heated battles all throughout the field. But out front, though, the 939 of Everett Storley starting to put a nice little gap between himself and the 16 of Lang. Getting a little space as he makes his way over onto the east end of the track through the Send It Squeeze and back onto the front straightaway.
You can see these youngsters trying to manhandle those sleds as they complete another lap, including that 3-rider battle for third, fourth, and fifth. Let's put this into perspective as one of our riders loses power just coming down to the white flag. The perspective I was talking about, racers 9, 10, and 11 years old in this pack, and one of those youngsters experiences a mechanical failure just before the white flag at the finish line.
Looks like that was the 989 of Tyler Custodio who was having some issues there, but right now coming onto the front straightaway, checkered flag is flying for your heat race winner, the 939 of Everett Storley taking the heat race win today.
16 machine of Alex Lang, who held on to that number 2 spot through the entirety of this race, will cross the line in second. 2-rider battle for third and fourth decided as they take the checkered flag to wrap up race number 2, 200 stock 9 to 12-year-olds. Race number 3, which is already rolling out of staging, will be our Junior Ditchbanger 10 to 13-year-olds, Kids Ditchbanger 8 to 12-year-olds, and Junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17-year-olds.
In that Junior Ditchbanger 10 to 13-year-old class, we have a lone competitor, the 72 of Brettley Crustmark, racing for Crustmark Motorsports out of Mazeppa, Minnesota.
In the Kids Ditchbanger 8 to 12-year-old class, 3 competitors. Amelia Tesmer from Millville riding the 33. Hovey Heineby from Prior Lake, Minnesota on the rear wire Rays Sport and Cycle 395. And Landon Podin from Stewartville, Minnesota atop the Triple Nickel 555.
And in the Junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17 class, another 3 racers. The 41 of Nora Tesmer out of Millville, Minnesota. 521 of Olson Plumbing and Heating of Montevideo. Par Piping, Olson Custom Farms, Julia Olson. And rounding out your field, the 901 of Jack Roggenkamp, racing for Staging Pro Race and Wrench out of Stacy, Minnesota.
7 riders in the lineup. It looks like we may have added one additional rider, so I believe we may actually be looking at an 8-rider field as they fly the green and they drag down into the West End High Banks. It will be the 901 of Jack Roggenkamp taking the early race lead as Jack makes his way around that lefty down towards the Send It Squeeze.
He was able to cut down low in that first turn. Really gave him the advantage there, but hot on his tail. We have the 5 coming up right behind him, trying to make some moves there. We have a nice little 2-rider battle for 3rd and 4th between the 521 of Olson and another one of our competitors.
So our race leader holding on to that top spot, then a multi-racer battle for 2nd and 3rd, 3-rider battle behind them, and an additional battle for position just outside the top 5. Now it is important to explain to those of you who may not be familiar with snowcross action. As we mentioned in the lineup presentation, there are actually 3 classes battling on the track at the same time. So even though you see racers battling side by side, they may potentially, possibly be in different classes. So even if a racer were to finish, for example, maybe 4th in the overall running order, they may still actually win their heat race for their class.
Another lap in the books as we take a look at the 901 of Roggenkamp leading the charge through the West End High Banks, down that Black Diamond drop, up the climb and into the Send It Squeeze before we get over onto the east end of the track and onto the front straightaway.
You hear us mentioning the Send It Squeeze. It's quite dramatic. Most of this racetrack, anywhere from 40 to 70 feet wide, except for that Send It Squeeze, as the 901 of Jack Roggenkamp takes the checkered flag for the overall win in race number 3. Roggenkamp racing in the junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17-year-old class. Getting back to the Send It Squeeze, that track literally funnels the racers down into a portion of the track that is no wider than 15 to 18 feet. So while they enjoy a very wide racetrack at the rest of the oval, that Send It Squeeze most definitely funnels those riders into a single lane portion of the racetrack, forcing them to battle each other in tight quarters.
Race number 4 getting ready in staging. Pro 206, Super 225 kids. Race 5, transition 8 to 10. And race 6, Leaf Spring, should be in the staging area right now. Race 7, 200 open and 200 stock 4 to 8. And race number 8, transition 8 to 12 combined, should all be making their way up to staging if they haven't already.
There's your starting lineup on screen for race number 4 in the Super 225 kids class. Auburn Owen from Waconia, Minnesota, riding the 17. Hayes Carlson from Litchfield on the 409, and Jace Wurzberger from New Ulm riding the Uncle Mark's Sled Parts 612. Only 2 of the expected 4 racers making the call, Jace Wurzberg and Hayes Carlson, on the track for race number 4.
A mano-a-mano battle here on the steep slopes of Steeplechase Ski Resort, as out front Jace Wurzberger already trying to put some distance between him and his lone competitor, the 409 of Carlson.
Another portion of this race circuit that may be lost in the live stream for those of you enjoying from the comfort of your home is the dramatic elevation change from the start-finish line down to where the racers are right now at the bottom of the fall-away field headed towards the West End High Banks. That is a drop of no less than 30 to 40 feet. That back straightaway, which is actually to the north of the front straightaway, is a good 20 feet lower, and down in the Send It Squeeze, they're an additional 20 feet down. So quite a bit of elevation change around this entire track. Right here, coming back onto the main straightaway, they have to climb back up the hill to get back to the height of the front straightaway.
Wurzberger still putting on a show out front. Carlson doing all possible to hold on to the rear end of Wurzberger right there. Both racers putting in an effort here in the drastically cold -2-degree weather we have out here in Mazeppa, Minnesota this morning.
Last night we had high winds that made it a struggle for everybody to stay warm here at Steeplechase Ski Resort. With 1 lap to go, as Zach just mentioned, temperatures are a bit more enjoyable on the Sunday portion, round number 2 of the X Racing Sunday Fun Day program. Last night temperatures were down around 20 below in the wind chill area, with the actual temperature hovering right around around that maybe 10 below range, 10 to 7 below range. Today, a little bit warmer, and with that sun shining down on us, the 612 of Jace Wurzberger is going to be able to take the checkered flag as the winner in the Super 225 kids class.
And we can see the sign right now. Next race is getting ready to start up here. Race number 5, transition 8 to 10. We have the 25K of Cashton Nelson racing the Shima Exteriors Jaeger Construction Skidoo out of Foley, Minnesota, alongside the 85 of TC Services Knifel Creations Colton Knifel, and the 989 of Tyler Custodio from Prior Lake, Minnesota, rounding out your 3 sled field.
For those of you in the pit area here at Steeplechase Ski Resort, do want to let you know that race lineups have been posted on the door of the registration building. It appears to be the 118 machine out front, a sled that we did not have in our starting lineup. There's the 85 of Colton Knifel running third right now.
I believe there's a chance that might be the 25K of Cashton Nelson. We see the 989 of Custodio sitting in second, 85 of Knifel in third. So either we have a slight number change on Cashton Nelson's sled, or Nelson has not made it out there, but we do have an additional competitor. Whichever one it is out front, the 118 is running well and strong, pulling away from the 989 of Custodio, and the 85 of Knifel just about 1 sled length behind in third.
The West End High Banks turn, where the second and third place racers are battling right now, is quite a steeply banked portion of this racetrack, and racers are learning very quickly yesterday and today that there are multiple lanes available as the white flag flies. 1 more lap to go for the trios battling in the transition 8 to 10-year-old class.
We may only have 1 lap left, so not sure if we'll be able to see any changes for position, but I will say over the course of that past lap, that battle for second and third between Custodio and Knifel slowly but surely started to pull up on the rear end of the 118 out front. What had been about a 10 sled difference, now down to about a 2 sled difference, but checkered flag is going to fly for the 118 machine. The 989 of Custodio going to end up finishing second. Knifel is going to round out your top 3 in the transition 8 to 10 class.
Race number 6 will be our Leaf Spring class. Race number 7 will be 200 open and 200 stock 4 to 8-year-old. And race number 8 will be transition 8 to 12 combined. So racers in those classes should be in the staging area. Here's your starting lineup for race 6, the Leaf Spring class.
Another mano-a-mano battle, this time between the 506 of Roger, Minnesota's Garrett Johnson, racing for Johnson Outdoor Services, and St. Paul, Minnesota's Brian Witham, piloting the 580.
Watch for the starter with the green flag in his hand at screen right. For those of you watching at home, when that green flag is raised, that's when the racers can squeeze the throttle with their thumb and rocket off the starting line. The starter checks the line. 2 racers see the green flag go up, and it's a drag race into the West End High Banks turn.
Johnson with the early lead, with him all over his tail right behind as they make their way through the Send It Squeeze over on the northeast end of the track.
Another thing you're going to notice as the day progresses and the size of these sleds increase, you're going to see these racers catching a bit more air as this track has been developed from what they experienced last night into what they're seeing today. Much more of a roller configuration in many areas of the track. And again, getting back to that West End High Bank turn, you can see both these racers opting for the inside lane, but there is a very extreme outside lane, and even if they wanted a chance at running right down the middle. So 3 good grooves there in the west end of this oval.
These racers, you can already see as we add a few years to their experience, we can also see a little bit of racing expertise added as well. You can see those racers full on throwing their body weight off the side of the sled so they can give things a little bit more power without fear of tipping up over onto their left-hand skis.
Both of these racers in the double digits, 30s and 50s, so they've had their experience on the sleds, as Zach just mentioned. There you see the 506 of Garrett Johnson heading into the High Bank West End area of the track, and then coming down the Black Diamond drop, coming back up to that left-hand turn before it drops back down in elevation to the Send It Squeeze.
Onto the front straightaway. One more time, checkered flag is going to fly for your heat race winner, the 506 of Garrett Johnson. Going to take the win today for Johnson Outdoor Services. The 580 of Brian Witham going to settle for second place in race number 6, the Leaf Spring class.
An 18-race schedule for our program today. All classes will get one heat race, and then all classes will get 2 main events. That's right, 2 main events for each class. So first we run through all classes for their qualifying heat races. Then we run through all classes for their first main event. Then we run through all classes for their second main event. Race number 7 is out of the gate. 200 stock, 4 to 8, and 200 open.
In the open class, the 398 of Isla Borgshots and the 612 of Jace Wurzberger leading the charge.
In the stock 4 to 8-year-old class, Colton Niefels riding the 85, Brooks Podin on the 105, Ellie Book on the 312, Hayes Carlson with the 409, Owen Lance on the 410, and Calvin Schrader atop the 960. Racers in these 2 classes ranging in age from 10 all the way down to 6 years young.
Can see the 105 of Brooks Podine having some issues there coming through the Send It Squeeze. But out front, we have one of those situations we were talking about earlier. Your early race leader, the 612 of Jace Wurzberger, leading the charge overall in the 200 open class. Right behind him, though, in second place overall, the 85 of Colton Neifel. Though he may be sitting in second overall, he is currently leading the race in the 200 stock 4 to 8 class.
When you mix multiple classes like this on the speedway, it gives the riders an opportunity to experience what we just saw the 612 of Jace Wurzberger experience, and that is coming back up onto the tail end of the main field and actually having to work past competitors safely and cleanly as Jace begins putting racers a lap down.
A little bit of separation growing between our top 2 racers, Wurzberger and Neifel, still holding on strong to 1 and 2 as the white flag flies. 1 more lap to go for our competitors.
The 960 of Calvin Schrader, 6 years young out of Faribault, Minnesota, taking that sled to the high side of the West End High Banks to allow the 612 of Jace Wurzberger to sneak underneath. There's the 612 of Wurzberger coming out of the final turn, headed towards the finish line. Checkered flag is out. Jace Wurzberger will get the W in the 200 open class qualifying heat race.
Jay's taking the win today for Uncle Mark's Sled Parts in the 200 stock 4 to 8 class. It is the 85 of Colton Neifel racing for TC Services, Neifel Creations, Grandma Jane, G&G Wallstrom, Pure Home Restoration, among others, as we get ready for race number 8, our transition 8 to 12 combined class.
In staging, Ditchbanger 90 to 09, Heat 1 and Heat 2, but right now in race number 8, transition 8 to 12 combined, we have Alex Lang riding the 16, Cashton Nelson on the 25K.
The 052 of Levi Rostad, JC Carlson atop the 708. And rounding out your 5 sled field, the 989 of Prior Lake, Minnesota's Tyler Custodio. Green flag flies. Looks like 4 of our scheduled 5 racers making the cut.
The 708 of J.C. Carlson in a 3-rider battle for second, third, and fourth. Carlson's going to hold on to that number 2 spot as our race leader begins to pull away just a bit and opens up a 4 to 5, maybe 8 sled length lead.
The 16 of Lang started 4th, already made his way up to 3rd, setting his sights now on the 708 of Carlson. But out front, however, I believe that was the 25K of Cashton Nelson, setting the pace and leading the charge as the 708 of Carlson seems to be off the pace through the Black Diamond drop over by the West End High Banks.
Yeah, it looked like Carlson actually jumped the berm on the outside of that high banked turn, and the sled actually got off the racing surface, so then he had to get that machine back onto the straight and narrow, get it back onto the track, but lost some time in that 3-rider battle for second, third, and fourth. Our leader is the 118 machine. Cashton Nelson out front.
We noticed this earlier. There seems to have been a slight number swap on the Cashton Nelson machine as he takes the white flag. Nelson piloting that 118 right behind him, though. We only have one lap left to go, but we might be seeing a little bit of company as now only about 4 sled lengths behind. We see the second place competitor slowly but surely coming up on the rear end. That is the 16 of Lang with 1 corner left and now 1 sled length separating. They come onto the front stretch side by side. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but it's the 118 of Cashton Nelson going to be taking the heat race win. The 16 of Lang going to have to settle for a hard-fought second place.
Cashton Nelson on the Shima Exteriors Jaeger Construction Osseo Nickel Coffee Shop 118 machine, picking up the W in the transition 8-12 combined qualifying heat race. Race number 9 in staging will be the first heat of 2 for the Ditchbanger 90-09 class.
Starting lineup's going to be the 7 of Jory Cordes out of Zimmerman, Minnesota, alongside Bloomer, Wisconsin, Scott Kempe on the 24.
Mondovi, Wisconsin's Joshua Bergs riding the 84. Shane Halverson from Orr, Minnesota on the 122.
The 248 of Ryan Cordes out of Zimmerman, Minnesota, and your current race leader, the 731 of Duluth, Minnesota's Jaeger Cordes, leading the pack as we make our way out onto the front straightaway. Cordes pulling away from the competition, the 122 of Halverson holding on to a solid second, but he's got some company right behind him.
Boy, that first lap saw a solid 6-rider battle at the front.
All right, this is Matt Bowl with MVTV. We are experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties as the announcer booth has lost power. We are working on that, and we should have that back on up. And the announcers, Dan Bailey and Zach Bailey, will be back with us here in just a couple of moments. But thankfully, we haven't lost the stream. We just don't have the wonderful voices of the Baileys. They'll be back soon.
make a move, goes up and over, and
Down. Sled up on its left side. Wybush able to jump right back up. The snow softening the blow just a bit.
And this is why we call it the Send It Squeeze. Two riders trying to go in side by side, goes from about 75 feet wide down to just about 15 to 18. Wybush cut down low, had nowhere else to go but over.
So Wybush able to hold on to second, actually dropped for a moment to third as the checkered flag flies. Wybush, I believe, unofficially going to be credited with a second place finish with a 395 of Corey Heinemey, I believe, holding on for the win at the end of race number 13 in the Ditchbanger 03 to 16 and Ditchbanger triples class. Race number 14 will be our plus 30 snowcross TS 440 600 invitation.
Herzog. Out front, though, it's the 5 of Dylan Dorn in the plus 30 snowcross class, currently leading the charge overall for race number 14.
Garrett Johnson riding the 506, Tyler Brown on the 641. I believe that was Brian Schultz who had issues exiting the West End High Banks there. Top 2, top 3, single file out of turn number 3 and onto the front straightaway. We call it the Hail Mary Highway as they pick up a lot of speed, crossing the start-finish line to complete a lap and begin the next.
Dylan Dorn still holding on to the lead out front. He's got some chase right behind him, though. I believe that is the 506 of Garrett Johnson, currently in second overall as they take the white flag. Ooh. Johnson leading that Tyler Snowsport 440 to 600 invitational class.
Nice speed shot right there at the start-finish line as the 5 of Dorn almost took that camera out, running an extreme outside lane down the Hail Mary Highway across the start-finish line. Dorn now works around the 28 of Dan Herzog as they come out of turn number 3 and complete another lap.
Checkered flag is going to fly, however, and Dylan Dorn on the 5 is going to take the heat race win for Skidoo, Woody's Traction, and FXR in the plus 30 snowcross class and the overall, and it'll be the 506 of Johnson Outdoor Services, Garrett Johnson, taking second place overall with the win in the Tyler Snowsport 440 to 600 invitational class. That was race number 14 of 18. As we move on to our next race, 15 WSAX 440 and 600 improved. Race 16 Ditchbanger Twins. Race 17 WSAX Open 90 to 03 and 03 to 16. And race 18 Almost a Pro Podin Invitational should all be in the staging area right now. Out on the track, however, early race leader is going to be the 12 of the 440 improved classes, Tucker Kempe. We also have the 24 of Scott Kempe, McKendall Kempe on the 26, the 129 of Connor Schultz, and the 726 of Lucas Hollicky in the 440 class.
The 12 machine of Kempe, your race leader, the 24 of Kempe running second. In the improved 690 to 03 class, we have Jake Wybush racing the 828 machine. So 3 racers out front, Kempe, and Kempe. I believe McIndoll is the 3rd rider there in the top 3, but your race leader out front is the 12 of Tucker on the CA Skis, Kempe Motorsports, Hide a Wild Bar Country RV entry out of Bloomer, Wisconsin.
We make our way into the Send It Squeeze on the northeast side of the track, and the Kempes are out there dominating. It's still the 12 of Tucker Kempe taking the white flag. One more lap to go for the 12 of Tucker.
Holding on to second, I believe, is now the 26 of McKendall Kempe, with the 24 of Scott Kempe running 3rd. Final trip around the Steeplechase Ski Resort Snowcross track as the number 12 of Tucker Kempe will head towards the finish line. Tucker gets the W in the 440 improved 90 to 03 class.
And that is the 440 class, race number 15. Up next, race 16, Ditchbanger Twins. Your starting lineup is going to look a little something like this.
Riding the number 7, Jory Cordes from Zimmerman, Minnesota. Atop the 28, Dan Herzog from Rogers, Minnesota. The 068 is Peyton Smith from Montevideo.
The 84 of Joshua Berg, Sam Lundstrom on the 133, 248 of Ryan Cordes.
David Olson atop the 321. Brian Witham powering the 580 around lap number 1 with Tyler Brown on the 641 machine. There you see him catching some air as they race their way up the rollers, headed towards the finish line. Oh, we take out the camera in the speed shot as that sled goes wide at the start-finish line, and we get a good view of the snow as another one bites the dust.
Out front, the 068 of Peyton Smith making a move down to the inside around the 84 of Joshua Berg. My apologies, not at the front of the field. This is a nice little mid-race battle raging for position. The 580 of Brian Witham also in the mix. But out front, our current race leader on the Skidoo leading the charge in the all-black, slightly yellow graphics.
Don't have a number on that sled. Not quite sure who that is out front, but he comes across the line at the front of the field.
And he is putting on a blistering pace, setting a nice gap between himself and that battle that's going on for second and third currently.
Might be the 7 of Jory Cordes. I can just make out a pink number on the visor there, so I think that might be Jory at the front of the field as Jory comes out of turn number 3 back onto the main straightaway across the start-finish line. And the checkered flag is out for Jory Cordes, getting the W in the Ditchbanger Twins qualifying heat race.
Sponsored by everyone's favorite sponsor, Dad's Wallet.
Race number 17, next in the start gate. This will be WSAX Open 90-03 Trail and WSAX Open 03-16 A-Arm class. In the Open 90-03 Trail class, we have Tucker Kempe from Bloomer, Wisconsin, riding the 1. Connor Schultz from Neenah, Wisconsin on the 129. Colin Schultz from Fremont, Wisconsin on the 290.
And rounding out your four-sled field in the 90-03 class, we have the 731 of Jager Cordes out of Duluth, Minnesota. And all alone in the 2003-16 A-Arm class, it is the 393 of St. Stephen, Minnesota's Mitchell Fruth.
So we will be looking for 5 racers on the track in race number 17 of 18. After heat race number 18, I believe we will have a short intermission as we get ready for the first round of mains. Quick reminder for everybody on site, visit the Steeplechase Ski Resort facility and enjoy some of the treats that are available at the concession stand there.
Nice race, early lead going on, but we have some battles going throughout the field as the 393 of Mitchell Fruth is slowly trying to reel in our leader out front as the first lap officially goes into the books.
Almost lost the speed cam a second time as the layout of the track tends to force these sleds as they're carrying the momentum up the hill back to the finish line, tends to force them to the outside. Now they're back at the northeast corner of this oval, and your race leader is still out front, enjoying a 1 sled length advantage that grows to 3, maybe 4 lengths as they get to the finish line.
Race leader with a great advantage through the Hail Mary Highway into the West End High Banks. The 393 of Fruth able to catch up during the more technical corners and the send it squeeze over on the northeast end of the track. But your race leader out front as Fruth has some issues behind, has some troubles turning that sled around. White flag is going to fly. 1 more lap to go for your WSAX Open competitors.
Apologies to that racer as we can't see the number on the sled. We don't know who that is out front. We apologize to the racer and the sponsor and the family members who I'm sure are cheering that sled at the front of the field. Probably going to make it to the checkered flag uncontested here as he comes out of the third and final turn, comes up the Hail Mary Highway. Checkered flag is out, and there is your heat race winner of race number 17.
393 of Mitchell Fruth, though finishing second overall, is going to take the heat race win in the 2003-16 A-Arm class. And just like that, we are officially at the final heat race of the afternoon. Race 18, our Almost a Pro Podin Invitational.
The Podin Invitational Almost a Pro class has 11 entries, including Justin Hale from Trempealeau, Wisconsin, riding the 26, Travis Hogstad from Stewartville, Minnesota on the 30, 34X, and Jesse Arnold from Ostrander, Minnesota on the Podin's Power Equipment 129.
We also have the 130 of Easton Arnold out of Ostrander, Minnesota. Stewartville, Minnesota's 151 of David Raymond. Troy Hale on the 281 out of Grand Meadow, Minnesota.
Parker Hale from Winona riding the 282. Kyle Book from Rochester on the 312. Jim Ganson from Stewartville on the 333. Joshua Podin on the 670. And Caden Bohm on the 670 machine. So 11 racers completing lap number 1. A tight field in this first lap. Top 2, as a matter of fact, side by side with 3rd and 4th in the mix as well.
Battles throughout the field raging on as I believe it's the 282 of Winona's Parker Hale currently leading the charge. I see the 670 right behind. Currently in second. We do have 2 670s out on the track, however, so that is either Podin or Bohm.
Almost lost the speed camera again as that second place sled was getting wide coming down the main straightaway. The 281 of Troy Hale, I believe, now up to second. So the Hale family well represented in the top 2, but a battle reestablishes with the number 5 machine. Join in the mix. There's your top 4 coming to the line to take the white flag. One more lap to go. Look out, look out, look out. Racer all the way to the outside of the front straightaway.
One of the Hales going way wide off the track as the white flag flies. Troy Hale able to hold on to it. Tucks down low, half a lap left. Will it be Parker? Will it be Troy? We have 1 corner left to decide.
That's your top 2. The Hale family battling out of the final turn. Now they have to make their way back up the hill to the finish line. Checkered flag will fly. Parker Hale, no stranger to checkered flags, will pick up the heat race win in the Almost a Pro Podin Invitational qualifying heat race. Rest of the field making their way across the line to complete our final qualifying heat race of round number 2 of the X Racing Sunday Fun Day Steeplechase Ski Resort event. We will take a short intermission and be back for our first round of mains right after these words from our sponsors. As the sponsors begin to roll, we want to remind those of you watching from home, let us know where you are. Where are you tuning in on the MBTV live stream? And we'll make sure to get that information up on screen for you.
At AMRAMP Accessibility, our goal is to help people. And that means providing them with the best quality product and service possible.
Attention in the pit area.
Built with powder-coated steel, our ramps are stronger and longer lasting than those built with wood or aluminum.
Sleds so that the scorers can score you correctly. Also, make sure that the number on the sled matches the number in the lineup. Want to make sure that we are scoring the correct racers and riders in their correct positions.
Get out.
Yeah, much easier. Better.
At AMRAMP Accessibility, our goal is to help people, and that means providing them with the best quality product and service possible. Built with powder-coated steel, our ramps are stronger and longer lasting than those built with wood or aluminum. Installed in a matter of days to ensure your safety as quickly as possible, our teams are here for you.
I can get out.
Yeah, much easier. Better. A lot better. Yes. Thank you.
I don't even have the words to explain how much easier it is. We're just so thankful for it, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Find your forward with AMRAMP Accessibility today. Learn more at amramp.com.
Every great journey begins with a trusted guide. And when it comes to finding your perfect home, there's no one better than Kathy Vetter. With over 10 years of experience and a passion for real estate, Kathy Vetter helps you find the perfect home, a peaceful country retreat, a cozy single-family house, or your very first step toward a lifetime home. She also specializes in commercial real estate, guiding you through every step of the way. From the heart of the metro to the scenic countryside, Kathy Vetter knows the Minnesota market inside and out, committed to finding the perfect fit for you, no matter where you are. Buying your first home can feel overwhelming, but with Vetter by your side, it's a smooth and exciting journey. She makes first-time buyers feel confident, supported, and understood every single step of the way. From your first showing to handing over the keys, Kathy Vetter works tirelessly to ensure you get the home you've always wanted. Kathy Vetter, your trusted real estate expert across Minnesota. From vibrant metro living to serene countryside escapes to agricultural and commercial spaces, let her help you unlock the door to your next chapter.
Freight is the backbone of the country, and as long as people need goods, they're going to need somebody to get it to them. My name is Matt Bohl with QualityFreightRate.com, powered by T-Force Worldwide. We provide LTL, truckload, and expedited freight services across this country. If your freight weighs over 120 pounds going over 120 miles, that's where my shipping rates kick in. We help companies ship easier for less. With our system, our customers are able to quote and book shipments with ease 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're having trouble with damages,
in the pit area,
lost freight,
in the
claims
pit
of
area.
any sort,
Race number
we can help you with our
120
experience,
improved
solve
stock
the
and
problem,
120
tell
stock
you why it's
should
happening
be
and
in
what
the
you should
staging
do
area
to prevent
at
it in the future.
Mini track
Me
up
and my
at the
team
top
have
of
been
the
together
hill,
for
as we will be
over 20
starting
years.
our first
We
round
know
of
this
mains
industry.
any moment now. Once again,
We can help
attention in the
all
pit area,
size business,
120
big or
stock
small,
and 120
we love them all.
improved
But
stock
we have a special
classes
spot for
should be in the staging area at the top of the mini track, as we will begin the first round of finals here in just a moment. Attention in the pit area. Could we please have the 444 of Finnegan Mickelson and the 555 of Amelia Mickelson make your way over to the mini track at the top of the staging area, as we are about to begin racing for the first round of finals. Once again, the 444 of Finnegan Mickelson and the 555 of Amelia Mickelson, please make your way to the mini track at the top of the hill, as we are about to start race number 1 of our first round of finals.
Main number 1 being lined up on the micro track, 120 improved stock and 120 stock. Racers on the track will include Nolan Schrader from Faribault, Minnesota, riding the 161. Elliot Massman from Sauk Center, Minnesota, on the 292, riding the Crazy J's Bar and Grill Angle Electric entry. Those two racers in the 120 improved stock class.
In the 120 stock class, we had heat race winner, the 10 of Bentley Schultz, along with the 7 of Peyton Schultz, both out of Zimmerman, Minnesota, sponsored by Schultz Synthetics.
Bowden Nelson out of Foley, Minnesota, will be atop the Jaeger Construction, Nix Electric, Put 'em Up Taxidermy 25B. Felix Ryan from Millville, Minnesota, will be riding the 107, and Riley Stanek from Zimmerman atop the Bodywise Chiropractic Center 126.
Out of Serona, Wisconsin, sponsored by C&A Pro Skis, Nicoletti Trucking, 139 Designs, Sobek Dairy, Goodwin Performance. It's the 444 of Finnegan Mickelson and the 555 of Amelia Mickelson. And rounding out your 8 sled field in the 120 stock class, we have the Wildlife Kennels, Mud Duck Designs, John Lance Construction, number 709 of Colton Lance out of Claremont, Minnesota.
Youngsters in the 120 improved stock and 120 stock class, ranging in age from 8 years old all the way down to, Zach Bailey, would you like to guess how young the youngest racer is in the 120 stock class?
Well, now, it couldn't be younger than 4 years old, would you say?
I think it is. Finnegan Mickelson clocking in at 3 years young, riding a Skidoo number 444 on the micro track. So the 120 improved stock, the 120 stock racers trying to learn the snowcross sport on the micro track.
Now, Dan, can you imagine all those long, long years ago racing a snowmobile at the age of just 3 years old?
I couldn't imagine this year racing a snowcross. So these youngsters are showing a lot of heart, and they're enjoying the micro track that's been built at the top of the Steeplechase Ski Resort. That's right, we are at a ski resort. Steeplechase Ski Resort has some great snowboarding areas. They have a nice bunny hill for the beginners. They have a nice sledding run, and of course multiple runs for the serious full-time skiers, multiple chairlifts to get you from the bottom back up to the top. So a big thank you to the fine folks at Steeplechase Ski Resort, welcoming X Racing Sunday Fun Day to their facility for rounds 1 and 2. Round 1 was yesterday, Saturday night, on a windy and frigid evening. This is round number 2 today, as our youngsters are on the micro track in the 120 improved stock and 120 stock class.
And while we're giving thanks, we might as well take a moment to thank some of our other sponsors that we have that have been able to help bring some snowmobile racing action to the steep slopes of Steeplechase Ski Resort here in Mazeppa, Minnesota for the 2025-2026 Sunday Fun Day Racing Series as a part of X Racing. We wouldn't have been able to do it without our premier Sunday Fun Day sponsors, the Hunter Hool Memorial Foundation, Steeplechase Ski Resort, DLO Excavating LLC, CNA Pro Skis, CF Moto, Husqvarna, Aeroplax Corporation, Ruck Excavating, Studboy Traction, and Fox Shocks. Thanks to all of our sponsors for the 2025-2026 Sunday Fun Day season to be able to bring these sleds out to these beautiful white slopes.
For those of you watching from home, we do have a rotation of MBTV sports sponsors online. If you find yourself in any of these facilities or in contact with any representatives from these businesses, please do thank their involvement at MVTV Sports and the Sunday Fun Day X Racing program through the 2025-2026 season.
And that is an excellent reminder as well for any of you out there, whether it is, racers and race fans watching the events from Steeplechase Ski Resort, or any of our This just in, before we get back to our regularly scheduled programs, we are still waiting for the 161 of Nolan Schrader to make your way up to the mini track at the top of the hill as race number 1 is about to begin. Once again, the 161 of Nolan Schrader. Please make your way up to the mini track as we are about to begin our first round of finals.
Attention in the pit area. Attention in the pit area. Competitors on the big track in race number 2, 200 stock, 9 to 12-year-old. Race number 3, junior ditchbanger, 10 to 13. Kids ditchbanger, 8 to 12. And junior ditchbanger, 13 to 17. And competitors in race number 4, Pro 206 and Super 225 kids, please report to staging at the west end of the racetrack. We will get you lined up and ready for your first round of mains on the main track. Also to staging at the west end of the facility, if we can get racers in race number 5, transition 8 to 10. Also competitors in race number 6, Leaf Spring, and they also want competitors in race number 7, 200 open and 200 stock 4 to 8 to staging. So if you are in race 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, they would like you in staging at the west end of the facility, please. Thank you.
As race 1 has concluded on the micro track, race number 2 on the big track officially starting things off strong. Our 200 stock 9 to 12 class, top 3 in your heat races. Heat race winner were the 939 of Everett Storley out of Elko, Newmarket, Minnesota. Finishing second was Alex Lang, piloting the 16 from Ringgold, Wisconsin, and the 910 of Henrik Storley, also out of Elko, Newmarket, Minnesota, rounded out your top 3.
Other racers in the pack as they complete lap number 1 includes Liam Peterson from Lino Lakes, Minnesota on the Speedworks, and Motorsports number 23, Rory Kimball from St. Michael, Minnesota, atop the FXR Liat Woody's 56, and Isla Borgshots from Big Lake, Minnesota on the CNA Pro Klim Prater Mountain Properties 398.
On the 612, Jace Wurtzberger out of New Ulm, Minnesota. Litchfield, Minnesota's J.C. Carlson racing the 708 and the 989 of Custodio Home Group Sled Head Racing's Tyler Custodio.
Top two have a nice battle for the lead, then a three-rider shootout for third, fourth, and fifth, with riders just outside the top five. Bringing up the rear of the field, there is your race leader, the 939 of Everett Storley. Everett coming off that heat race win earlier, out front, leading main event number one.
Our top three sitting as they stood for the heat race. But don't look now, the 989 of Tyler Custodios trying to make moves to the inside of the 910 of Henrik Storley to make a move up onto that podium position with 1 lap left to go.
They all got the white flag, so the running order is Everett Storley on the 939, Alex Lang in the 16 running second, the 910 of Henrik Storley running third, and the 989 of Tyler Custodio fourth on the 989.
Through the Hail Mary Highway, checkered flag is going to fly for the 939 of Everett Storley, taking the first feature race win of the day on the big track. Alex Lang going to finish second. And it looked as though it may have been the 989 of Custodio moving by third.
Henrik Storley on the 910 finishing fourth. Rest of the field following suit as they take our first main event checkered flag on the big track here at Steeplechase Ski Resort. Those of you watching at home, welcome back to Steeplechase Ski Resort in mighty Mazeppa, Minnesota, as we get ready for main event number one for race number three, Junior Ditchbanger 10 to 13, Kids Ditchbanger 8 to 12, and Junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17.
In the Junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17 class, heat race winner was the 901 of Jack Roggenkamp. We also had the 521 of Julia Olson and Nora Tesmer racing the 41.
In the Kids Ditchbanger 8 to 12-year-old class, Amelia Tesmer on the 33, Hovey Heinemey on the 395, and Landon Podin riding the triple nickel 555. Brentley Kuzmark is the sole entrant in the Junior Ditchbanger 10 to 13-year-old class, number 72. Green flag is up, and the number 5 machine will be our early race leader.
Right behind, it's the 901 of Jack Roggenkamp, your heat race winner from earlier on today. Cuts down to the inside underneath the 5, and just like we saw in the heat, Roggenkamp up to the top spot.
So now Roggenkamp, your race leader, the 521 of Julia Olson, running third, and the number 5 sled. We don't have a racer on a number 5 sled. Not quite sure who that is. It may be Nora Tesmer on the 41, but I'm not sure. But the number 5 running second for now.
Full field out front for race number 3, as we have 3 different classes being represented in here right now. Junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17, Kids Ditchbanger 8 to 12, and Junior Ditchbanger 10 to 13. All making the trek out as now we see the 555 of Landon Podin crossing the start-finish line.
Number 5 still running second behind the 901 of Jack Roggenkamp. White flag is out now.
1 more lap to go for our competitors out on the steep slopes of Steeplechase. 901 of Roggenkamp, your race leader on the screen right now, making his way through the Send It Squeeze, getting by some lap traffic, getting into the side of them ever so slightly, up and over onto the front straightaway. Checkered flag is going to fly. Roggenkamp once again taking the win, took the heat race win, and is now taking the first feature race win for the class. Junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17.
Across the line second on the number 5 sled will be that rider. Then the 521 of Julia Olson, and rounding out the top 5 will be the 555 of Landon Podin. That was race number 3. Now we give you the starting lineup for race number 4. Again, this is the first run through the mains in the Pro 206 class. Bowden Nelson on the 20B.
In the Super 225 Kids class, we had heat race winner, the 612 of Jace Wurtzberger racing for Uncle Mark Sled Parts, and the 409 of Hayes Carlson out of Litchfield, Minnesota. Just as we saw last time, Wurtzberger and Carlson the only ones to make it to the lineup. But we do have a swap around from the heats, as now it's Carlson, your early race leader. Würzburger, your heat race winner, sitting in second, but he's looking down to the inside. Carlson into the deep snow. Up top, is Carlson going to be able to power through? They're side by side on the front straightaway. Slightest of advantages to Carlson on the outside, but Würzburger has the preferred line on the inside, makes the full pass on the west end high banks.
Elbow to elbow, boot to boot, knee to knee they were down the front straightaway, and as they got into the west end, the high banks, tight quarters forced the 409 of Hayes Carlson up to the top of the high banks. Carlson settles into second now, right behind the 612 of Jace Würzburger. Würzburger leads him out of the final turn and up the Hail Mary Highway to the finish line to complete another lap. Your race leader in the Super 225 kids class is Jace Würzburger.
Würzburger with a nice run on that front straightaway, but Carlson still holding on strong in second. Grew things down to just about a 2 sled length gap. Now they're up to about a 10 sled length gap, but Carlson still in the mix right here. And right as I say it, Carlson goes way high into the soft snow up top, and Würzburger is going to be able to pull away up to the white flag.
One final lap to go. You can see that Hayes Carlson tends to fade to the outside lane quite often, and that may be something that the young 7-year-old out of Litchfield will learn as Hayes' career continues to evolve. But right now, the 612 of Würzburger appears to have this one well under control with just a final rip around the east end turns. Going to have to come up the rollers to the finish line before he can consider himself a main event winner. There's the checkered flag. Jace Würzburger wins main event number 1 in the Super 225 kids class.
Race number 5 about to hit the track. Transition 8 to 10. Race 6, Leaf Spring. And race 7, 200 open, 200 stock 4 to 8 should all be in the staging area. Race 8, Transition 8 to 12 combined. And race 9, Ditchbanger 90 to 09 Heat 1 should all be making your way up to staging now if you have not already.
Main event number 1, race 5, Transition 8 to 10-year-olds already underway. Cashton Nelson riding the 118. Colton Neefel on the 85, and Tyler Custodio on the 989. Here comes a trio out of the final turn, headed towards the finish line. The 989 of Custodio holding on to the number 2 spot right behind our early race leader, Cashton Nelson on the 118.
Even to what we saw in the heat race earlier on. Nelson out front, slightly pulling away from the rest of the field. Custodio holding on to a solid second. Just made that gap down to about a 2 sled length gap. Right behind him, 1 sled length back, the 85 of Neifel still holding on to 3rd place.
Cashton Nelson leads us back to the high banks at the west end of the track. Mom cheering him on just outside the racetrack there as the 989 of Custodio closed the gap quite a bit and now is thinking about coming up alongside the race leader, maybe to challenge for a chance at the top spot.
Through the send it squeeze, didn't want to tuck down too low and lose any ground. Custodio is going to draw back ever so slightly as another lap goes in the books for the 118 of Nelson. But we have a full lap run here from Custodio. He has gained that ground back. Now about 2, 3, 4 sled lengths back. He's able to catch him on the straightaways. Nelson able to power through the corners and gain a little bit of ground.
Yeah, it appears that Custodio drives that sled just a bit deeper into the turns, whereas Nelson on the 118 is able to power out of the turns, and what that's done is resulted in a main event win for Foley, Minnesota's Cashton Nelson on the Jaeger Construction Veller Insulation Ruck Excavating 118 machine. Cashton Nelson, winner of main event number 1, race number 5.
Green flag flies for race number 6, Leaf Spring. Heat race winner was the 506 of Garrett Johnson, racing for Johnson Outdoor Services. We also have the 580 of St. Paul, Minnesota's Brian Witham. Witham, who finished second in the heat race, your current race leader in the Leaf Spring class.
Garrett Johnson takes a look to the inside, almost got those sleds side by side. Then the 580 of Witham takes that inside lane away, and that allows Johnson then to move to the outside. And the 506 of Johnson is your new race leader.
And with that pass, he is able to pull away from the competition. Half a lap in and already half a straightaway ahead of the 580 of Witham. Johnson out front, showing him how it's done, leaning deep to the inside to help keep that sled on all skis.
So the 580 of Witham was able to get out of the start gate quicker, hold on to the early lead before the 506 of Johnson was able to sneak past and take that lead. And now that Johnson's out front, has clean snow ahead of him, has been able to stretch that advantage over the competition.
Leaning it hard through turn number 3 onto the front straightaway, up and over the Hail Mary Highway. White flag is out. One more lap to go for Garrett Johnson.
Final trip around the X-Racing Sunday Funday Steeplechase Oval. The 506 of Garrett Johnson out of Rogers, Minnesota, appears to have this one well under control with his Johnson Outdoor Services sled. Take a final trip around the east end turns, and it will be Garrett Johnson, barring any unforeseen circumstances, picking up the main event win in race number 6. Brian Witham will cross the line second. Race number 7 in the start gate already.
Race number 7, 200 open, 200 stock, 4 to 8. Is about to hit the track. Race 8, transition 8 to 12 combined. Race 9, Ditchbanger, 90 to 09. Heat 1 should be in the staging area.
In the start gate, we have race number 7, 200 open and 200 stock, 4 to 8. Isla Borgshots riding the 398. Jace Wurzberger on the 612.
In the 200 stock 4 to 8 class, heat race winner for this division was the 85 of Colton Neifel out of Newmarket, Minnesota. We also have the 105 of Brooks Podin and the 312 of Eli Book.
On the 409 is Hayes Carlson. Owen Lance from Claremont, Minnesota is riding the 410. And Calvin Schrader from Faribault will be on the 960. Now in the heat races, Brooks Podin on the 105 was a DNF. We will see who is going to make the call for this 7th race main event number 1. It appears that we're waiting for a competitor or 2. I believe we're looking at perhaps 3 sleds there on the start line.
4 of the 8 have been lined up for race number 7. So once again, 200 open, 200 stock, 4 to 8 should be on the track right now as we are about to go green flag racing any moment now.
So for those of you in the pit areas, if you have a youngster in the 200 open or 200 stock 4 to 8-year-old class, they should already be over in staging, actually down into the start gate area now as we are holding up race number 7 to release them once we can get the entire field in the start gate. In the qualifying heat race, Zach Colton Neifel on the 85 machine was able to take that TC Services Neifel Creations Wallstrom Pure Home Restoration Skidoo to the checkered flag to pick up the heat race win. That was in the 200 stock 4 to 8-year-old class, while Jace Wurzberger from New Ulm, Minnesota took his Uncle Mark's Sled Parts 612 machine to the front of the field and picked up the heat race win. Of course, as anyone in regional racing knows, the awards and the plaques go home in the mains, and that's where we are now. Didn't get any awards in the heat races, but now we'll start handing out plaques in these mains, and there are 2 opportunities for these racers to pick up plaques, because during the X-Racing Sunday Funday events, we have 2 main events.
Exactly. So we finished off our heat races earlier on today. We're now in our first round of finals for the day, and we will have a second full round of finals once again once we get to the end of these races. But out on the track, you can see the flagger waving the flag. Looks like 5 of our scheduled 8 racers have made the call, and out front early on, it's the 85 of Neifel with the lead, the 612 of Wurzberger holding on to second place.
So these are the 2 youngsters who we saw at the front of the field in the qualifying heat race, replicating that start and getting out to the front of the field in this first main. They're going to go side by side around the final turn as they get onto the Hail Mary Highway and head towards the finish line to complete lap number 1. It's a bit of a drag race right down to the line. The 85 and the 612 elbow to elbow at the end of lap number 1.
Neifel had the slight advantage, but Wurzberger has the preferred line. He's able to tuck it down low in the west end high bank and fully secure the lead overall. Wurzberger up to the top spot, but even though Neifel on the 85 has fallen back to second overall, we do see our 2 class leaders currently on the screen right now as Würzburger is leading the 200 open class. Race 8 officially on the track now. Transition 8 to 12 combined class. Heat race winner was the 118 of Cashton Nelson. Finishing second, it was the 16 of Alex Lang. The 052 of Levi Rostad, 708 of JC Carlson, and 989 of Tyler Custodio. Rounding out your field as we have one of our competitors getting into a tough block there, pulling it slightly onto the track. Looks like that was the 052 of Levi Rostad.
Not sure if Levi took out our speed camera again. We've had it run down a couple of times as momentum carries these sleds to the outside of the Hail Mary Highway. That's the front straightaway. Yellow flag is out as they try to get that bale back into position. Top two hold their position and head back into the West End High Banks.
The 118 of Cashton Nelson out front. The 16 of Lang sitting in second currently, just like we saw during the heat race earlier on today. Then it's the 708 of Carlson in third, and the 052 of Rostad in fourth.
So Rostad was the racer who got a little wide on that front straightaway. Didn't do any damage to the sled. Checkered flag is out, so that will give the first main event win in race 8. Transition 8 to 12 combined to Cashton Nelson on the Voller Insulation, Ruck Excavating, Black Label Graphics, Dustin's Tile, 118 machine. The 16 of Alex Lang across the line in second.
Race 9, Ditchbanger 90 to 09. Heat race about to start. Race 10, Ditchbanger 90 to 09. Heat 2. And race 11, Junior 10 to 13 and Junior 14 to 17 should all be in staging.
In heat number 1, we have Jory Cordes on the 7. Scott Kempe riding the 24. Joshua Berg with the 84. Shane Halverson on the 122. Ryan Cordes with the 248. And Jaeger Cordes on the 731. Heavy traffic through that left-hand turn as they make their way down towards the Send It Squeeze.
Out front early, it's the 731 of Jaeger Cordes, the 24 of Scott Kempe, holding on to a solid second place with the 74 machine right behind in third.
So it's the 731 of Jaeger Cordes, your early race leader. The 24 of Scott Kempe running second. Look at that heavy traffic as they go down into the valley between the West End High Banks and that Black Diamond drop to make the climb back up to that slight left-hand turn. Ooh, tight quarters there in the Send It Squeeze. I'm not sure if we had any contact there, but my goodness, were they close where that track narrows up.
The 122 of Shane Halverson slowed down to a crawl as we get through the Send It Squeeze. The other two competitors right behind with nowhere else to go had to quick slam on those brakes. But out front, it is the 731 of Cordes with an open track ahead of him. White flag flies with 1 lap left to go for Cordes.
Second place sled also across the line to take the white flag. Here comes this multi-rider battle for third, fourth, and fifth, as I thought we were going to lose the speed cam another time, as a lot of those racers are racing to the outside of the front straightaway.
One final time onto the front straightaway. Checkered flag is going to fly for your feature race winner, the 731 of Jaeger Cordes. It is the 24 of Scott Kempe finishing second with the rest of the field in tow behind. We have a comment on the MBTV Sports YouTube page right here. Watching from Kentucky, all the way over on the east side of the U.S. Corey Zeimer saying watching from Mabel, Minnesota on Facebook. So we have viewers from all across the U.S. right now being able to tune in live to round number 2 of the 2025-2026 Sunday Fun Day Series here at Steeplechase Ski Resort.
I apologize, Zach, but Corey Zeimer would shoot me if he heard his name mispronounced. He stops me almost every Friday night when he can at Mississippi Thunder Speedway to let me know and remind me that it's Zeimer with an E. But Corey Zeimer, thanks for tuning in from home. Heat number 2 for our Ditchbanger 90-09 class on the track, including Mackendell Kempe on the 26, Connor Schultz riding the 129, Sam Lundstrom with the 167.
The 580 of Brian Witham, 726 of Lucas Hollicky, and Kyle Roggenkamp piloting the 901 make up your 6 racers in Heat 2 of the Ditchbanger 90-09 class.
Couple of riders, including Roggenkamp on the 901, taking an extreme outside entry into the West End High Banks there, as Roggenkamp was able to steal a spot. Unfortunately, that's outside the top 3, as there's your race leader crossing the line to complete another lap.
The 167 of Lundstrom, your early race leader, 580 of Witham, sitting in second. And then it's the 901 of Roggenkamp rounding out your top 3.
So Lundstrom able to get out of the gate early with a 580 of Witham following him. And we've been focusing a bit on the 901 of Roggenkamp as he didn't quite get the start that he had wanted. White flag is out. Roggenkamp trying to see if he can make his way into the top 2 as Roggenkamp almost takes out the speed cam.
Roggenkamp has been setting a blistering pace as he comes up on the rear end of Witham with 1 lap left to go. Will he have enough time? Out front, though, uncontested. Checkered flag is going to fly for your feature race winner, the 167 of Sam Lundstrom.
Again, this is the first run through the mains. Main number 1, race number 10, Ditchbanger, 90-09. Second heat goes to Sam Lundstrom on the 167. Race number 11 is already in the gate. Juniors 10-13 and junior 14-17 in staging 600 open 18 plus modern. That would be race number 12. Race number 13, Ditchbanger triples, and Ditchbanger 03-16. Here are the racers in race number 11. We have Alex Lang on the 16, Julia Olson on the 521, and heat race winner Jackson Rath from Elko New Market on the 952.
Out front early. Looks like that is the 952 of Jackson Rath leading the charge. Seems as though 2 of our scheduled 3 competitors have made the call. Oh, all 3 are there, stuck behind a gust of snow, but it's the 521 of Julia Olson sitting in second, which leaves the 16 of Lang rounding out your top 3, currently leading that 10-13 class.
Those of you tuning in from home, you can drop a note to us at mbtvsports.com, either on social media. Let us know where you're watching from. Toss out some kudos to racers who might be competing here today. As we explained earlier, we have multiple classes on track at once, such as we're seeing right now. Alex Alex Lang, despite running third in the overall running order, leading the junior 10 to 13-year-old class, as Jackson Rath continues to lead the junior 14 to 17-year-old class on the 952. White flag is out. One more lap to go for main event number 1, race 11, junior 10 to 13 and 14 to 17-year-old classes.
Through the Send It Squeeze, taking that hard right-hand corner onto the front straightaway. He's going to make his way through the Hail Mary Highway to receive his first checkered flag of the day. In the main events, the 952 of Jackson Rath taking the win for UP Cycle and Sport out of Elko, Newmarket, Minnesota. Julia Olson going to finish second on the 521, and it is the 16 of Alex Lang taking the win for Snap-on Tools in the junior 10 to 13 class.
Tip of the cap to Derek Russo, watching from Pine City, Minnesota. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you spread the word. Let everybody know that they can watch for free. Compliments of the live streaming coverage from MBTV Sports. Race number 12, making their way out of the start gate now. It's a drag race into the West Bend high banked turns of 600 open 18 plus modern main event.
The 068 of Peyton Smith took the whole shot early on, but it was heat race winner, the 5 of Dylan Dorn, able to pass by on the inside through the Send It Squeeze. Dorn now up to the top spot. Smith back to second, and the 218 of Dalton Bieber rounding out your top 3.
Nice nose to tail two-rider battle for second and third as our top 3 try to pull away just a bit from fourth on back. All eyes on that nose to tail battle and the Send It Squeeze. That's where this racetrack narrows down from about 40 to 75 feet wide all the way down to maybe 15 to 18 feet wide at the northeast corner of this racetrack. The 068 of Peyton Smith still holding on to second, with a 218 of Dalton Bieber challenging in third.
Smith's got a whole lot of Bieber over his rear end, though, as Bieber looks down low trying to make this pass for second work. Smith has got him on the straights. He's able to pull away, put quite a bit of a gap in there, but Bieber's able to come up through the corners. Back through the Send It Squeeze, though, the 5 of Dorn showing us how it's done, putting on a perfect race here as he comes back onto the front straightaway one more time.
Dorn gets the checkered flag and continues with a strong weekend. Had a great Saturday night and is enjoying a successful Sunday afternoon portion of round number 2 of the X Racing Sunday Fun Day program. That wraps up main event number 1 for race 12, class 600 open, 18 plus modern. Race number 13 now is in the start gate. Ditchbanger triples and Ditchbanger 03 to 016.
Race 14 plus 30 snowcross, Tyler Snow Sport 440 to 600 invitational, and race 15 WSAX 440 and 600 should all be in staging.
5 of the expected 6 racers in the gate for race number 13, including Nick Sonnabend on the 9, Logan Fixdahl riding the 50, David Olson on the 321, and Darren Borgshots on the 398.
In the Ditchbanger 03 to 16 class, heat race winner was the 395 of Corey Heidemy. Finishing second, it was the 828 of Jake Wybush out of Lake City, Minnesota.
Top 2 battling for the lead as they complete lap number 1, make their way back to the west end of the facility. Now at that short left turn, they begin their transition into the northeast corner of the track. Top 2 nose to tail separation, maybe 2, possibly 3 sled links with third place in tow.
Heidemy and Wybush 1 and 2, just as we saw during the heat race. Heidemy with about a 2 sled length advantage over the 828 of Wybush as we make our way down the Black Diamond drop and into the Send It Squeeze.
You can see the suspension trying to soak up as much of the racing surface as possible. The racers continue to push those sleds as hard as they can. White flag is out. 1 more lap to go for main event number 1, race 13. Ditchbanger triples and 03 to 16.
Down the Black Diamond drop, Wybush looks to the inside, sees if he might be able to make a pass there, but Heidemy's able to pull away one final time through the Send It Squeeze onto the front straightaway. Checkered flag is going to fly. It'll be a drag race to the line. Heineme going to take the feature race win by a morsel. Wybush having to push wide and go off the track, going to have to settle for second place in race number 13.
Race number 14 is in the start gate. This is plus 30 snowcross, TSS 440 600 invitational. Dylan Dorn on the 5. Was the heat race winner in the plus 30 snowcross class. In the TS 440 600 invitational class, Garrett Johnson on the 506 was the heat race winner.
Also in the Tyler Snow Sports class, we had the 7 of Brian Schultz, 28 of Dan Herzog, and the 641 of Tyler Brown. As the green flag flies, Dorn once again leading the charge out front in the plus 30 snowcross class.
Then the 7 of Brian Schulter holding on to the number 2 spot for now, followed by, I believe it is the 506 running third. Top 3 pretty tight. There's 4th and 5th crossing the line.
Side-by-side battle between Schultz and Johnson. As Johnson's able to tuck it down low, Johnson now up to second place overall to lead the Tyler Snow Sport Invitational class.
You can see Brian Schultz on that 7 machine couldn't quite get that sled to rotate through the midpoint of the West End high banks at the west end of this racetrack. He actually had to stand up, get off the seat, and wrestle that sled back under control. Meanwhile, the 5 of Dylan Dorn racing in the plus 30 snowcross class continues to set a blistering pace as your early main event leader. White flag is out. One more lap to go for Dorn and the rest of the field.
One final time into the West End high banks. It's still Dorn out front for plus 30 snowcross. In the Thomas Snow Sports 440 to 600 invitational, Johnson ever so slightly pulling up on Dorn, but Dorn had too much of an advantage and is going to take the feature race win for race number 14. Garrett Johnson going to settle for second place overall, taking the win in the Thomas Snow Sport 440 to 600 invitational.
Doug Steck joining us online from sunny Florida, where he says it's 80 plus degrees. Doug, I've got news for you. Last night we were 20 below with the wind chill. It was windy and chilly. Today 10 below as we all woke up and got to Steeplechase Ski Resort here in Mazeppa, Minnesota. So stay warm, my friend. We are trying our darndest to do the same here in southern Minnesota. We get ready for main event number 1 for the race 15 classes, WSA 440 improved and WSA 600 improved.
In the 440 class, the 12 of Tucker Kempe, your heat race winner with the early advantage. The 726 of Lucas Holicky currently sitting in second, 24 of Scott Kempe in third. Then it's the 26 of McKendall Kempe in fourth, 129 of Connor Schultz also racing in the 440 class. The 828 of Jake Wybush, the lone 600 racer in race number 15.
The 12 of Kempe, Tucker Kempe, pulling away from the 2-rider battle for second and third as the 24 of Scott Kempe continues to try to find a way to get up alongside the 726 of Lucas Holicky. Lucas on the green sled and the Scott Kempe machine, the yellow one, on the outside. They go elbow to elbow into the West End High Banks turn. The 726 retains his hold on second, at least for now.
Holicky like
18 will be our from Zimmerman, Minnesota on the 7, joining Jory on the start line, Dan Herzog with the 28. From Zimmerman, Minnesota on the 7, joining Jory on the start line, Dan Herzog with the 28, Peyton Smith on the 068, and Joshua Berg on the 84.
133 of Sam Lundstrom, Ryan Cordes on the 248, 321 of David Olson, 580 of Brian Witham, and the 641 of Tyler Brown make up the rest of your field for race 16. Race 17 and 18 should be in the staging area, as those are our final 2 main events for round number 1. Out front early on, though.
Oh, look out, we've got one off the backside. Down into the trees goes one of our competitors on the outside of the Send It Squeeze. I believe that was David Olson on the 321. So Olson's run in this first main event may have come to an early end.
The 068 of Peyton Smith out front early. The 580 of Brian Witham right behind, currently in second place.
Joey Cordes on the 7, who won the heat race, not in the mix, at least in that two-rider battle for second and third. The 133 machine of Sam Lundstrom is just ahead of those two.
Lundstrom, Smith, Witham 1, 2, 3.
So the 133 machine of Sam Lundstrom, your race leader at this point in time. That's a two-rider battle for second and third coming out of the west, headed back to the east. Nose to tail and flirting with some side-by-side fun. Second and third still in play.
White flag was out that time by. The checkers are going to come out now for the 133 of Sam Lundstrom, taking the win for Wilmar Coin Laundry Farm, Wrightham's Garage AC and Electric. The 068 of Peyton Smith going to finish second, and it is the 580 of Brian Witham who will round out your top three for the Ditchbanger Twins class.
Main number 17 is in the start gate. WSA Open 90-03 Trail and WSA Open 03-16 A-Arm. In the Trail class, we have Tucker Kempe riding the 1, Connor Schultz on the 129, and Colin Schultz on the 290, with Jaeger Cordes rounding out that 4-rider lineup on the 731.
In the 03-16 A-Arm class, we have the lone competitor, the 393 of Mitchell Fruth. As a reminder, for race 18, our final main event of round 1, Almost a Pro Podin Invitational, all of our racers should be in staging right now. Looks like we are taking just a second here to ensure all of the racers are ready to go. We only have 2 of our scheduled 5 racers on track for race 17, WSAX Open 90-03 Trail and 03-16 A-Arm.
While we await the other competitors for main event 1, race number 17, we'll remind you that we will be back to Steeplechase Ski Resort in Mazeppa, Minnesota with more X-Racing Sunday Fun Day on January 3rd and 4th. That will be round 3 and 4. Rounds 5 and 6 will be January 17th and 18th. Round 7 and 8th, February 21st and 22nd. If you think they need a 9th and 10th round, get in touch with the folks at X Racing and let them know that you want to see a little more green flag fun at Steeplechase Ski Resort.
And while we continue to wait for our final competitors in race 17, I want to give another shout out to some of our sponsors allowing us to come here: Woody's Traction, Podin's Power Equipment, Henkel Utilities, Moto Pros, and Cannon Power Sports.
Looks like it's going to be a 2-rider main in the WSAX Open classes as the 393 of Mitchell Fruth runs second, just behind the race leader. Top 2, as it were, with only 2 riders on the field at the east end of the track.
Now, not only is this an interesting race to watch as there are only 2 riders out there, but at the end of this race, we will also have 2 main event winners, as we see the 393 of Mitchell Fruth currently sitting in second place overall. He is the lone competitor in the 03-16 A-Arm class, which means that even if he does end up finishing second place overall, Fruth will be winning the main event in the A-Arm class. Our competitor out front will be the winner in the 90-03 Trail class.
Yeah, and we apologize, can't quite make out the number on that sled that has now fallen back 1 position to second. The 393 of Mitchell Fruth able to complete that pass coming down the end of the Hail Mary Highway and headed into the West End High Banks. So Fruth now your overall race leader in main event number 1 for the race 17 classes.
And Fruth with a solid run on the back stretch there. 1 lap post pass and already about half a straightaway ahead of his competition. He's making his way down the Black Diamond drop into the Send It Squeeze on the northeast side of the track, showing his competitor how it's done in this mono-e-mono 1v1 race for race number 17 in the WSAX Open class.
Checkered flag is out. Fruth will take the win in the WSAX Open A-Arm class. Second rider had an issue in the West End High Banks, is now headed towards the Send It Squeeze. He's going to be able to complete this lap and take the checkered flag.
Final race of the first round of main events coming up now. Race 18, the Almost a Pro Podin Invitational. Your starting lineup will look a little something like this. Heat race winner was the 282 of Parker Hale out of Winona, Minnesota. Finishing second was the 281 of Troy Hale from Grand Meadow, Minnesota. And finishing third was the 670 of Joshua Podin out of Stewartville, Minnesota.
Green flag is up, and they take it 4 wide into the first turn. The whole shot goes to the number 5 machine, and that will be our early race leader with the 282 of Parker Hale taking a look to the inside, but this is where that track squeezes them. They run out of racing room. Hale to the inside. Right behind is the 312 of Kyle Book.
The 333 of Ganson looking to the inside of Book, trying to make a move there. Ganson now up to that third place spot, but he's got company on the inside again, as we have had 3 different racers go in that third place position. Now we have the 281 of Troy Hale trying to get up in the mix.
Kyle Book in that 312 machine was up there in the top 3, but has since lost a few positions. As we work on this second lap, we'll wrap up this second lap, begin the third lap, and it looks like a lot of that side-by-side action is taking place from 4th on back. Are we going to see a battle for the lead develop here? Still the number 5 out front with the 282 of Hale giving chase.
Hale was your heat race winner in the Almost a Pro Podin Invitational, currently sitting second with about 10 sled lengths of a gap to try to close as we come up to another lap in the books. Not much time for Hale to make a move if he's trying to go 2 for 2 in this class today.
We apologize. We don't have a number 5 in our starting lineup, so we're not quite sure who that is out front in our final main event of our first run through of the mains. Wish we could give him credit, but the number 5 machine is your race leader.
And your race winner, as the checkered flag flies, the number 5 of our Secret Racer X, going to take the win today in the final main event of the first round. The 282 of Parker Hale going to finish second, and I believe I saw it was the 333 of Ganson unofficially rounding out your top 3 for the Almost a Pro Podin Invitational.
So that wraps up our first run through of main events for all 18 races. We will take a short intermission, and we will be back with our second mains. That's right, twice the fun on Sunday Fun Day X Racing action from Steeplechase Ski Resort. You're watching all of it live on MBTV Sports.
Small business. Small businesses are pillar. Freight is the backbone of the country, and as long as people need goods, they're going to need somebody to get it to them. My name is Matt Bohl with QualityFreightRate.com, powered by T-Force Worldwide. We provide LTL, truckload, and expedited freight services across this country. If your freight weighs over 120 pounds going over 120 miles, that's where my shipping rates kick in. We help companies ship easier for less. With our system, our customers are able to quote and book shipments with ease 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're having trouble with damages, lost freight, claims of any sort, we can help you with our experience, solve the problem, tell you why it's happening and what you should do to prevent it in the future. Me and my team have been together for over 20 years. We know this industry. We can help all size business, big or small, we love them all. But we have a special spot for small business. Small businesses are pillars in the community. Low rates are critical for a small business because the margins are generally pretty small. They need to have competitive rates. They can't be getting gouged or they lose the sale. Freight is simple. People make it difficult. We work as consultants in the industry, so it doesn't matter what your problem is, we'll solve it. We educate the customers, we solve problems, and we lower their shipping rates. And that's what I've been doing for 20 plus years.
Welcome back to the live stream coverage of X Racing Sunday Fun Day from Steeplechase Ski Resort in Mazeppa, Minnesota on MBTV Sports. live stream. Those of you at home, we do want to let you know that we will have a 45-minute intermission. Give these racers an opportunity to check over their sleds, make sure that they are ready to rock and roll. So again, we are looking at approximately about 2:20 to 2:30 for our first gate drop for our second run through of main events.
This should give all of you racers and race fans a moment to take some time, for those of you here at the track, run on into the chalet, grab some food, warm up a little bit. For those of you live streaming today's events for free on mbtvsports.com or through the MBTV Sports Facebook or YouTube pages, this gives you a chance to get up, walk around a little bit, grab some food from the kitchen, hit up the restroom. As a reminder, we will be back to our final section of main event races here at around 2:20 to 2:30. Quick reminder for those of you in the grandstands right now, we are live streaming on mbtvsports.com. If you have any friends or family who weren't able to make it out to the races today, whether they're out of state, were working, or didn't want to brave the cold weather, feel free to send them those links, as we will be back to live streaming here in just about 40 to 45 minutes. In that time, we will hear a word from our sponsors, but we will be back here soon with some more green flag racing action at the beautiful white slopes of Steeplechase here in Mazeppa, Minnesota.
Painful steps shouldn't be part of your daily routine. At Foot and Ankle Clinics, PA, we specialize in diagnosing and treating a wide range of foot and ankle conditions, from heel pain and bunions to diabetic foot care and sports injuries. Our board-certified podiatrists, Dr. Jeff Pellersells and Dr. Russell John Hill, bring decades of experience and a compassionate approach to every patient. At our clinic, we are dedicated to serving the community with the highest level of care. Your well-being is our top priority. Serving the communities of Woodbury, West St. Paul, and Edina, we're committed to providing personalized care tailored to your needs. Don't let foot or ankle pain hold you back. Visit footandankleclinics.com to schedule your appointment today.
When you push your engine to the limit, on the track, the farm, or the highway, only one name delivers unmatched protection. Schaefer's specialized lubricants. With over 180 years of proven performance, professionals don't guess. They trust Schaefer's. And in our region, there's one guy who makes it happen. William Denzer. Racers, farmers, fleets. They all call William because he's reliable, knowledgeable, and gets results. So support the brands and people who support racing. Call William today, 651-253-0999, or email denzer.schaefer.sales@gmail.com. Schaefer's, trusted since 1839. Power in every drop.
My two passions in life is racing and selling good high-end meat. So my grandfather came here from Germany back in the late 20s. He decided to open his own shop in 1951. He had all the recipes, he had all the talent. His father was a meat guy. His father's father was a butcher. They weren't football players, basketball players. They were in the meat business. And that's our family. That's what we're good at. Oval World Meats was derived from Frank's Meats. That was my grandfather's name. I know the quality of my beef is the best because I've purchased it directly from the ranchers that certified Angus beef. We know what our beef is continuously, and it's very consistent. So we're located up here in Duluth on beautiful Lake Superior, just a stone throw off of Highway 61. I've lived here my whole life, and it's where I wanted to raise my family. To be successful, you need to have a talent. And I knew I was going to be in the meat business. I can taste spices, I can pick out flavors, where they need to come in, where they need to stop. So knowing your strengths are important and knowing where you came from. We have a hot snack stick that's got actually 8 different spices of heat in that, and it layers the flavors in the heat. That's what makes the difference with our product. The most exciting part was becoming coast to coast with The old world meets snack sticks. My neighbor stopped me on the street and said, Paul, I was just down in Georgia and this gas station had your product. It was one of the highlights of the year. I don't know of a state at this point that we haven't had product in. Being in business in a small town really puts things into perspective. It's the little things for me to be appreciated and respected. So this whole operation here doesn't have to be the biggest, but it needs to have passion. And today, I'm changing lives of people that work with me. My guys are learning lifelong skills and values. That's the good stuff. Let's make the world a better place. Let's have a good time at it.
Ready to make a splash this summer? Grab your friends and head to River's Edge on the scenic Apple River. Whether you're looking to float the day away, camp under the stars, or catch live music and weekend events, River's Edge has everything you need for an unforgettable time. Book your tube, campsite, or party package now. River's Edge on the Apple River. Your summer starts here.
Yeah, Butler-Built has been a supporter of mine for a long time. I've always run Butler-Built seats ever I got into 410 sprint car racing, and I feel like they have the nicest aluminum seats out there. The craftsmanship, the welding on it is top notch, and now they're pouring my inserts and have the gravel cut seat and gives you a lot of clearance for your hybrid or your Hans, and I feel like, there's no better seat out there. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of feedback, right? These guys do it every day. So as me as a sprint car driver specifically, every form of dirt racing, the seats are built different. And guys like us, drivers are wearing holes in their hybrids because they're rubbing on the seats. And I felt like there was a need for a little bit of a new design and a new generation of the sprint car advantage seat. So it's been a fun ride and hope to continue the relationship for a long time.
Kevco has been an industry leader in high-performance oil pans and components for over 35 years. Made in Fairmont, Minnesota, Kevco prides itself on being American-made. Kevco has expanded our product line way beyond just oil pans to valve covers, breather systems, jack stands, boilers, wheel sockets, and much, much more. Check out KevcoRacing.com to see everything we have to offer, including our line of street, off-road, and performance oil pans and accessories. Or call 800-770-3557 to talk with our friendly customer service today.
When you've got to ship it from anywhere to anywhere,
QualityFreightRate.com.
The LTL Freight Logistics Specialist for your small business.
QualityFreightRate.com.
We simplify shipping, eliminate those surprise charges, and negotiate the best rates from most LTL qualified carriers.
QualityFreightRate.com.
Special residential and liftgate rates available for automotive and ag implements.
QualityFreightRate.com.
Use the promo code ICE and get 10% off your first shipment. Startup is so easy. Get a quote and ship today. QualityFreightRate.com.
Attention in the pit area. Attention in the pit area. Slowly but surely, we're going to start calling our first few races up. We are still about 10 minutes. Race 5, transition 8 to 10, and race 6, Leaf Spring. Start getting your final situations all set and ready. Once again, we will be going green flag racing in about 10 or 12 minutes. Still need our track crew to make their way out, but those first 5 or 6 races, start getting your gear all ready, getting your sleds warmed up, and making your way over to staging soon. Attention in the pit area. Attention in the pit area. 120 improved stock and 120 stock. Make your way over to the mini track at the top of the hill as we are about to go green flag racing in just about 3 minutes. Once again, green flag racing in 3 minutes at the top of the hill for 120 improved stock and 120 stock class.
Welcome back to X Racing Sunday Fun Day, round 2 from Steeplechase Ski Resort in Mazeppa, Minnesota. I'm Dan Bailey. Next to me is Zach Bailey as we prepare for our second round of main events for all of our racers. We will be starting, as we have all day, at the top of the hill with our 120 improved stock and 120 stock racers on the micro track, and then we will transition onto the big track with the rest of our final competitors through this second main event. Zach, it's been a fun weekend. It was a little cold on Saturday night. The sun is shining today, but a beautiful facility. A big kudos and a thank you to the fine folks here at Steeplechase Ski Resort for welcoming X Racing Sunday Fun Day events to their facility for 2025-2026.
Exactly. You know, we had a late change of program here in the season. We were only going to do, 1 or 2 races here at Steeplechase. Ended up changing things pretty last minute. Added on a 3rd race. Now we've added on a 4th weekend of racing. So we have a whole lot of fun planned here for the 2025-2026 Sunday Fun Day race series here at Steeplechase Ski Resort in Mazeppa, Minnesota. Yesterday was round number 1 for the year, first set of races. We are back today for round number 2. We've had a set of heats earlier on today, had our first round of finals, and now we will be moving into our second round of finals. And in addition to that, we will be back again in just a few short weeks. January 3rd and 4th, we will be back for rounds 3 and 4 of our more recently announced weekend of races here at Steeplechase in Mazeppa, Minnesota.
We do have our youngsters climbing atop their sleds and getting ready for our first main event of this second run-through of mains of Sunday Fun Day action on the micro track. And this first race in round 2 main events will be 120 improved stock and 120 stock. Those of you watching online via the live stream, you can see some of those youngsters getting ready, getting comfortable on their sleds as they prepare to pull them out onto the micro track for their second main event of round 2. On the track will be racers such as Bentley Schold from Zimmerman, Minnesota on the Schold Synthetics number 10 machine. Bentley will be joined by Peyton Schold, also from Zimmerman, on the number 7 machine. Bodin Nelson out of Foley, Minnesota will be atop the 25B.
We have the 107 of Felix Ryan from Millville, Minnesota. Zimmerman, Minnesota's Riley Stanek on the 126. The 444 of Finnegan Mickelson out of Sorona, Wisconsin.
Other racers on the track, you may see Amelia Mickelson from Sorona on the CNA Pro Skis Nicoletti Trucking 555. Colton Lance from Claremont, Minnesota on the Wildlife Kennels Mud Duck Designs. John Lance Construction 709. Nolan Schrader from Faribault, Minnesota on the 161. Elliot Mossman from Sauk Center, Minnesota on the Engel Electric 292. There are 10 riders in the starting lineup. I don't think we have all 10 of them on the gate. 7 of them, I believe, going to make the call for this second main event of the round 2 portion of the weekend.
And as a couple quick reminders, race 2, 200 stock 9 to 12, and race 3, junior ditchbanger 10 to 13, kids ditchbanger 8 to 12, and junior ditchbanger 13 to 17 should all be in staging right now. As after this race, now that we have gone green flag racing, we will be moving over to the big track. Green flag flies for race number 1 of our final round of races. And out front early, a little bit of bumping and banging, we have the 292 of Elliot Massman leading the charge out front, the 25B of Bodin Nelson sitting in second, and the 10 of Bentley Schold rounding out your top 3.
They obviously came out of the gate 7 wide, but they funneled it down to a 3 wide battle for the lead in that first turn as these youngsters ranging in age from 8 down to 3 learn the sport of snowcross on the micro track here at Steeplechase Ski Resort in Mazeppa, Minnesota.
Now, we talked about it earlier on today, but this is definitely the youngest class of racers that we will have out there. Our eldest racer that we have is actually our current race leader, the 292 of Elliot Massman, a whopping 8 years old, ranging all the way down to our youngest competitor of the weekend, the 444 of Finnegan Mickelson, coming in at a spry 3 years old. So this is where the future of our sport, learning how to go about the racing of snowmobiles here at Steeplechase as we get the white flag, one more lap to go for our racers.
You can see our race leader, the 292 of Elliot Massman, working through traffic but being challenged by the 25B of Podin Nelson. Nelson actually takes the lead and is maybe going to bring the 10 of Bentley Schuld along with as they work through lap traffic. Here's a drag race down to the checkered flag. The 25B unofficially going to take home the main event win. Look at him celebrating. He's like, yes, I did it. Got the job done.
Now on the bright side, even though the 292 of Elliot Massman did end up finishing second place overall in this race, he did take the win in the 120 improved stock class. So both Nelson and Massman get to come home as feature race winners.
Look at that celebration. Love seeing it as Podin Nelson out of Foley, Minnesota gets to celebrate with a main event win on the Shima Exteriors, Jaeger Construction, Osseo Nickel Coffee Shops, Ski-Doo with additional support from Nick's Electric, Put 'em Up Taxidermy, C&A Pro Skis, Rock Speed FX, Veller Insulation, Ruck Excavating, Black Label Graphics, and Dustin's Tile. Podin Nelson celebrating with a great run. Look at him. He's still enjoying the moment. They're going to line him up for another run. The 10 of Bentley Schuld lining up to the inside. The 555 of Amelia Mickelson, right about dead center in the middle, just to the left of Peyton Schultz, number 7. Here comes the 444 of Finnegan Mickelson. What you see now is our racers on the start line of the micro track being awarded the Hunter Hoole Memorial Foundation plaque as great representatives of snowcross racers and supporters. This is a high honor, so these youngsters getting a memorial plaque from the Hunter Hoole Memorial Foundation. Going to get a photo with a checkered flag behind him. That is a pretty neat celebration, arising from Hunter Hoole's true love of racing and strong passion for helping others. The Hunter Hoole Memorial Foundation is dedicated to helping those in need, the advancement of education, and engaging in other charitable purposes. Through the combination of Hunter's passions, the foundation strives to benefit the community and those in need. Remember, you can visit HunterHooleMemorialFoundation.org for more information or to donate today. A 10, a 20, a 25, a 50, whatever you feel is going to help out would be accepted. A big thank you to the fine folks at the Hunter Hoole Foundation for helping to support X-Racing Sunday Fun Day action through rounds 1 and 2 at Steeplechase Ski Resort.
Time for a quick for the weekend. For any of you in the grandstands right now, had some friends or family who weren't able to make it out this weekend due to, being out of town, the cold weather, work, anything like that, feel free to send them those links so they can have one final chance to take a look at some of this Sunday Fun Day racing action for the weekend. As we now move on to events on the big track, race number 2, 200 stock 9 to 12, race 3, Ditchbanger, Junior Ditchbanger 10 to 13, Kids Ditchbanger 8 to 12 and Junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17 should all be in staging. Race 4, Pro 206 and Super 225 Kids. Race 5, Transition 8 to 10 and Race 6, Leaf Spring should all be 5 kids. Race 5, Transition 8 to 10 and Race 6, Leaf Spring should all be making their way to staging as we are officially green flag racing for our 200 stock 9 to 12 class.
Two-time race winner already today, Everett Storley on the 939, back out front where Everett has been all day, won the heat and the first main event earlier today. The 16 of Alex Lang running second right behind other racers on the track include the 989 of Tyler Custodio, the 939 of Everett Storley. Henrik Storley's on the 910, J.C. Carlson on the 708, Jace Wurzberger riding the 612, Isla Borgschatz with the 398, Rory Kimball on the 56, and Liam Peterson atop the 23. There's some side-by-side action as these youngsters on the 200 stock 9 to 12 class sleds make their way to the line to complete another lap.
Now this is going to be the battle to watch for third right now as the 989 of Tyler Custodio currently holding on to third place. He finished third in the first main event of the day, but the 910 of Henrik Storley finished third earlier on today, so we're going to see which one will be able to take the most third place finishes right now. The 939 of Everett Storley holding on strong to that lead as we make our way through the West End High Banks and down the Black Diamond Drop on the northwest side of the track.
There's your race leader, the 939 of Everett Storley, the 910 of Henrik Storley right behind. The race leader makes it through the Send It Squeeze and begins climbing up towards the top of the Steeplechase Ski Resort and the finish line as he gets the checkered flag and picks up yet another main event win. The Arctic Cat supported Climate Services Stray Cat Racing Hoyer Camp Home Group 939 of Everett Storley winning main event number 2 in the 200 stock 9 to 12-year-old class.
Race number 3 up next. In the Junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17 class, your lineup looks like this. Looking for the clean sweep on the weekend. Heat race winner, main event 1 winner, the 901 of Jack Roggenkamp out of Stacy, Minnesota. We also have the 521 of Julia Olson from Montevideo, Minnesota, and Millville, Minnesota's Nora Tesmer piloting the 41.
In the Kids Ditchbanger 8 to 12 class, Amelia Tesmer out of Millville, Minnesota will be riding the 33. Prior Lake, Minnesota's Hovey Heineme is atop the Rewire Rays Sport and Cycle Rocks Speed FX 395 with Stewartville, Minnesota's Landon Podin on the Triple Nickel 555.
All alone in the Junior Ditchbanger 10 to 13 class, the 72 of Brettley Krusmark out of Mazeppa, Minnesota, but out front with the early lead, it's the 901 of Jack Roggenkamp looking for that clean sweep out front as we've seen him all morning long.
Roggenkamp just ahead of the number 5 machine who's running second, and just behind the 5 is our third place racer making her way across the line as they complete lap number 1 on the big track here at Steeplechase Ski Resort.
Down the Black Diamond Drop, the 5 machine holding on strong to that second place standing currently. Out front, it's still the 901 of Roggenkamp, the 521 of Julia Olson sitting in third. Julia finished third in the first main event earlier on today. This is the same lineup we've had for that last race. 901, 5, 521, 1, 2, 3 as it stands.
It's been a beautiful Sunday here at Steeplechase Ski Resort with clear skies and the sun shining brightly. A little haze beginning to develop overhead just a bit as we work our way into the early afternoon portion of the program. Our final set of main events for all competitors today as the 901 of Jack Roggenkamp begins to work through racers at the tail end of the field. Has to slice and dice safely past the competition. There you see the 555 and the 395. Hovey Heineme on the 395, Landon Podin on the 555.
Checkered flag is going to fly, though. Roggenkamp taking the clean sweep here today in the Junior Ditchbanger 13 to 17 class. We've now officially had 2 clean sweeps for the day so far. Going into race number 4, we could potentially see the same as heat race and feature race winner in the Super 225 kids class was the 612 of Jace Wurtzberger out of New Ulm, Minnesota. Alongside him, the 409 of Hayes Carlson out of Litchfield for a mano-a-mano 1v1 battle for race number 4.
It has been these two battling side by side for quite a while all weekend. Actually, Hayes was actually able to get the whole shot in the first main event. Hayes lined up on the inside, going to get the whole shot this time again. So we will see if Jace Wurtzberger is going to be able to make up the ground lost in that first turn, perhaps close back in on the race leader and battle for the top spot.
Through the send-it squeeze, Carlson has the advantage out front. Wurtzberger going to have to hold behind in second. Hayes through the corner well, holding on strong on the front straightaway. Wurtzberger about 2 sled lengths behind.
The one thing that we did notice in prior races here is that Hayes Carlson tends to let that sled drift a bit wide in the turns, and that opened up the inside lane for the 612 of Jace Wurtzberger. You could see that happen there, and it actually forced Jace out a bit as they exited the West End High Banks, but Jace is able to cross over and reclaim the lead, the 612 out front now.
Wurtzberger, Carlson, 1 and 2 as we make our way through the Hail Mary Highway, put another lap in the books here for race number 4. As a reminder, race 5, transition 8 to 10, race 6, Leaf Spring, and race 7, 200 Open should all be in the staging area right now.
There you saw again Hayes Carlson on the 409 struggling to get that sled to pivot in the middle of the West End High Banks. That front end wants to push and almost took Hayes off track, which would be a treacherous development because the ski slope literally falls away on the outside of the West End High Banks. White flag is out. One more lap to go for the 612 of Jace Wurtzberger.
Making our way through the West End High Banks, down the Black Diamond drop, into the climb up to the Send It Squeeze. Our competitors are going one final time around the Steeplechase Ski Resort Sunday Fun Day track as we make our way onto the front stretch. Checkered flag is going to fly for your next clean sweep winner of the day. Uncle Mark Sled Park 612 of Jace Wurtzberger taking the win today, and the 409 of Hayes Carlson round out your field for race number 4.
Race number 5 will be transition 8 to 10-year-olds. 3 racers in the gate. Cashton Nelson on the 118, Colton Neefel on the 85, and Tyler Custodio on the 989. Flag is up. Racers are away. It'll be Custodio out of the whole shot turn first, but here comes the 118 of Cashton Nelson battling for the lead. They were so tight they may have touched in that slight lefty kink turn before they got down to the Send It Squeeze.
Custodio has been going number 2 all day here in the transition 8 to 10 class, was holding on strong to that lead right away, but Cashton Nelson was able to overtake things here to take that lead over once again. Up onto the front stretch once again, the 118 of Cashton Nelson puts another lap in the books. Custodio holding on strong to that second place spot. A little bit behind, we have the 85 of Colton Neifel rounding out your top 3 for transition 8 to 10.
Single file racing order for our transition 8 to 10-year-old competitors in staging Leaf Spring Racers and 200 Open, 200 Stock 4 to 8-year-olds. This time across the line, it's still the 118 out front as your leader.
Keep an eye on Custodio, though. He is gaining some ground. The skis almost touched the rear end of Nelson there that time around. We're going through the Send It Squeeze. Custodio goes high. Looks like he's going to try to tuck down and get underneath that inside line of Nelson. Nay, he stays on the outside. It's a drag race to the line. Checkered flag flies, and another clean sweep on the day. It is going to be the 118 of Cashton Nelson taking the win for Shima Exteriors, Volar Insulation, Ruck Excavating, Black Label Graphics, and Dustin's Tiles, among others.
Main event number 2 for race 6, our Leaf Spring class, includes Garrett Johnson from Rogers, Minnesota with the Johnson Outdoor Services 506, and Brian Witham from St. Paul, Minnesota with a 580. They're still side by side as they exit the West End High Banks and make their way down through the Black Diamond Drop before climbing back up to that short lefty turn and then dropping again down into the Send It Squeeze.
The 506 of Johnson with the advantage, but Witham on the inside with the preferred line. This first lap is going to go with the slight advantage to Johnson, but Witham doing all he can to battle back and try to regain that lead.
That was a nice power move on the outside for Johnson as he was able to work his way around the 580 of Brian Witham. Witham's sled looked a little loose. He locked it up a little bit on entry into the West End High Banks. The rear end slid out from underneath him, but he was able to battle back, but not before dropping that lead and ending up in second. There's the 580 of Witham coming across the line to complete another lap. This is Leaf Spring, second main event in staging, 200 open, 200 stock 4 to 8-year-olds, transition 8 to 12 combined, and Ditchbanger, both first and second heat racers should be in staging. Here's the 506 of Garrett Johnson coming to the line one more time.
Another lap officially in the books. Johnson with a decent gap before we get back to the 580 of Brian Witham, holding on strong to that second place position in this Leaf Spring class. We're going to go through the Send It Squeeze, take that sweeping right-hand corner onto the front stretch, and as he makes his way across the line, checkered flag is going to fly here for race number 6 of 18, a third of our way through our final set of main events.
Main event number 2 for race number 7 competitors will include 200 open and 200 stock 4 to 8-year-olds. Isla Borgschatz from Big Lake, Minnesota will be riding the 398 with Jace Wurtzberger from New Ulm back with the Uncle Mark Sled Parts 612.
Green light is out. And in the stock 4 to 8 class, we have the 85 of Neifel, 105 of Podin, 312 of Book, 409 of Carlson, Lance on the 410, and Schrader on the 960. But out front alone, as we've seen all morning long, the 612 of Jace Wurtzberger leading the charge today. The 85 of Colton Neifel sitting in second overall, leading the 200 stock 4 to 8 class.
So there's your top 2 headed down to the west end of this lima bean-shaped oval. An interesting switch as yesterday on the Saturday portion, round 1 of this weekend, we ran this track in the counterclockwise format. Today we're running it in the clockwise format. And what is lost a little bit to those of you watching from home is that the back straightaway is so much lower than the front straightaway. They come out of the West End High Banks, where you see our race leader right now, and really do drop quite a bit of elevation. This is quite a major downhill right there. Then they begin climbing back up to a bit of a peak in that left-hand turn that sends them back down the slopes towards the Send It Squeeze, which again is much lower than the front straightaway, which is the south end of this racetrack.
Elevation changes throughout, multiple changes even throughout each lap as we go up, we go down, we go back up. White flag flies though. 1 lap left to go for our competitors. And out front it is still the 612 of Wurtzberger making his way around some lap traffic as we may see our 7th of 7 clean sweeps on the day. One final time through the Send It Squeeze, taking that sweeping right-hand corner onto the front straightaway. Checkered flag is going to be in his sights for the Uncle Mark Sled Parts number 612 of Jace Wurtzberger taking the win.
Rest of the field still making their way around the final turn as they come out of the Send It Squeeze. Look at this battle right down to the line, but it will be the 85 holding on to that spot. Main event number 2 for race number 8 will be our transition 8 to 12 combined racers, including heat and first main winner Cashton Nelson on the Shima Exteriors 118 machine. Joining Cashton on the line is Alex Lang from Ringgold, Wisconsin with a 16.
We also have the 708 of J.C. Carlson, who finished third in the race, or in the first main event, and the 052 of Levi Rostad, rounding out your 4-sled field, as the 708 of Carlson cutting the track a little bit to try to gain some positions there. It's going to be Rostad moving up to second, Carlson unofficially in third. Out front, though, your current race leader is going to be, as we've seen all morning long, the 118 of Cashton Nelson, looking for yet another clean sweep on the day.
Levi Rostad on the 052 machine, running second as they complete that first lap. Then it's the 708 of J.C. Carlson and the 16 machine of Alex Lang, 4 of the expected 5 racers on the track for this second main event.
Nice little battle going on for third and fourth, pulling up on the 052 of Rostad. So we may be seeing a 3-sled battle for second, third, and fourth developing here in these final few laps of our transition 8 to 12 combined class.
Alex Lang that time took a look to the outside, to the left of the 708 of J.C. Carlson. Couldn't quite get up alongside to really complete that pass. Now gets a good run down through that low end, exiting the west end high banks. Is able to get up alongside the 708. They're going to go elbow to elbow into the send it squeeze. And that position will change hands. The 16 of Alex Lang now up to third and will set her sights on the 052 of Levi Rostad.
Now, Rostad is definitely one to keep an eye on. He has yet to have a podium in this class today, so
First group for the second main event, including Jager Cordes from Duluth, Minnesota, who picked up the win in the first main event on the 731. Ryan Cordes rides the 248, Shane Halverson on the 122, Joshua Berg with the 84, Scott Kempe on the 24, and Jory Cordes with the 7.
Out front early, as we've seen yet again all day long, the 731 of Jager Cordes currently holding on to the lead. The 122 of Halverson sitting in second, and we have a position change here. The 24 of Scott Kempe making his way up, as we have a stalled sled out there. The 248 of Ryan Cordes having some issues right as we get onto the front straightaway. Ryan Cordes comes to a standstill as now the rest of the field tries to get by.
Well, look at this, the 84 machine out front. That is Joshua Berg from Mondovi. Joshua is being challenged mightily by that 122 of Shane Halverson. Shane really giving it the body English there. Left hand actually slips off the handlebar there. Grabs onto the right side, is able to keep that sled under control, but can't quite get up alongside the 84. Here comes that challenge into the left-hand turn. Look at him working the handlebars there. We've got a new leader. It's the 122 of Shane Halverson.
Halverson in the lead. Berg now back to second. Holding on to this battle for position. He's going to try, but now he's got company behind him. Scott Kempe in the 24 looks to the inside onto the front stretch. Checkered flag flies for the 122 of Halverson, and it's the 24 of Scott Kempe able to make the pass stick to finish second. And this officially marks our first race of the day where we have not seen a clean sweep in the class, as now Shane Halverson becomes a feature race winner.
Second group now in the line for our Ditchbanger 90 to 09 class, including Sam Lundstrom on the 167, Connor Schultz with the 129, McKendall Kempe on the 26.
The 580 of Brian Witham. We also have the 726 of Lucas Hollicky and the 901 of Kyle Roggenkamp.
What a start. We had him 4 wide coming out of the West End High Banks, and the 901 of Kyle Roggenkamp able to squirt out front and take the lead away from the competition.
The 167 of Lundstrom, your previous feature race winner in this class, sitting in second. The 580 of Witham rounds out your top 3, but out front it is all Roggenkamp all day long as he tries to pull away from that battle for second and third.
Roggenkamp trying to bounce back, if you'll pardon the pun, from a third place finish in the first main event in this second group of the Ditchbanger 90 to 09 class, and he has built up a commanding advantage in the first half of this second main event.
That time by, it was about a 10 to 15 sled length advantage over the 167 of Lundstrom, and that advantage continues to grow as we're now up to about a half straightaway advantage from Roggenkamp back to Lundstrom, and about an equidistance, maybe a slightly lesser advantage back to the third place racer, the 580 of Brian Witham, sitting in third.
So that's your top three, pulling away from fourth on back as this race gets into its latter stages. As a matter of fact, so late in the stages that the checkered flag is flown, and the win will go to the 901 of Kyle Roggenkamp out of Lent, Minnesota, with a W to take home to the Staging Pro Race and Wrench supporters.
Race 11 about to hit the track. Junior 10 to 13, Junior 14 to 17. Race 12, 600 Open 18 plus. Race 13, Ditchbanger triples, Ditchbanger 03 to 16. And race 14, plus 30 Snowcross and the Thomas Snow Sport 440 to 600 Invitational should all be in staging. But your lineup for race 11 in the Junior 10 to 13 class. We had the 16 of Lang in the 14 to 17 class. Your previous feature race winner, the 952 of Jackson Rath, and the 521 of Julia Olson. As the flag flies, it is Rath out front, Olson in second, Lang rounding out your three-rider race for race 11.
This is the second main for the Junior 10 to 13 and Junior 14 to 17 competitors. And for the second time this afternoon, we see Jackson Rath on the 952 trying to pull away from the 521 of Julia Olson. Julia doing a great job on that beautiful pink and purple sled, keeping the race leader at least within sight. We will see if Julia is going to be able to take a bite out of that deficit behind our race leader.
A little back, we see the 16 of Alex Lang out of Ringgold, Wisconsin. Even though he may be sitting in third place overall currently, he is, as the lone competitor in the class, the current race leader in the 10 to 13 class. But as we move up the ranks to the elder competitors in that 14 to 17 class, the 952 of Jackson Rath continues to put on a great performance out front with a clean track ahead of him. He is able to set his sights forward and put the pedal to the metal.
I thought maybe Julia Olson was going to be able to close the gap, hang with the race leader, maybe even get up there and challenge for the W, but such is not the case, as Jackson Rath has been bulletproof all day today, comes to the line and the waving checkered flag. Jackson Rath picks up his second main event win of the day on the UP Cycle and Sport 952.
Race number 12, 600 Open 18 plus. Again, looking for the clean sweep today. The 5 of Dylan Dorn racing for Skidoo Woody's Traction FXR out of Zumbro Falls, Minnesota. The 068 of Peyton Smith from Montevideo, Minnesota. The 393 of Mitchell Fruth out of St. Stephen, Minnesota.
Other racers on the track include Aiden Leonard from Lake City, Minnesota on the 109, Dalton Bieber from Elko, Minnesota on the Fredrickson Signs and Graphics 218, and Brody Schindelbecker from Farmington, Minnesota on the Boulder Images Conway Outdoors 804. You can see that the battle is already underway. Nice side-by-side action in a shootout for the lead as the 5 machine works to the inside and will take the top spot.
Bieber finished third in the previous main event session. Took the whole shot early on, but as we've seen all day, Dorn able to get by and secure that lead and start to pull away from the field. The 068 of Peyton Smith finished second in the heat and second in the first main event. Currently sitting in third, but he's got company right behind him.
And just behind him, 4th and 5th, single file as the 5 continues to set a blistering pace. Your race leader with a couple of laps in our 600 Open 18 plus modern second main event.
White flag being shown to your competitors. One more lap to go in this 600 Open 18 plus modern class, and Dylan Dorn is walking away with it, showing these other racers how it's done. He's the elder in the class, at a spry 35 years old, racing against teenagers and 20-year-olds, and he is showing them that age and experience know what to do on the track as he takes another feature race win for Woody's Traction and FXR.
Dylan Dorn sending it around the X Racing Sunday Fun Day track here at Steeplechase Ski Resort. You were able to see him catching a lot of air on that final lap as he raced his way to the win. Now we get ready for race 13, Ditchbanger Triples. And plus 30 snowcross, TSS 44600 Invitational on the track now. Dylan Dorn riding the 5 machine. Brian Schultz on the 7. Dan Herzog with the 28. Garrett Johnson on the 506. And Tyler Brown on the 641. There's the 506 machine of Garrett Johnson just to the outside in that battle for second and third as the 5 of Dylan Dorn picks up where he left off. And that's at the front of the field.
Another lap in the books for the 5 of Dylan Dorn. He has gone 2 for 2 so far in this class, looking to make it 3 for 3 on a multi-feature race winning day for Dylan Dorn in the Thomas Snowsport Invitational class. Right behind, it's the 7 of Brian Schultz sitting in second overall, leading that Thomas Snowsport class.
We did have one of those cats struggle a bit right at the bottom of the exit of the West End High Banks. I wasn't sure if that sled went over or not, but the rider back up onto the sled and continuing the march towards the checkered flag. Look at this heavy traffic here as we've got 3 of them battling for position.
The 641 of Tyler Brown sitting in third overall. The 506 of Johnson sitting in fourth overall as the white flag flies, and now it's the checkered for the 5 of Dylan Dorn, taking home yet another feature race win for Woody's Traction and FXR.
Now it's a battle for the TSS 44600 Invitational competitors to get to the line to find out who can get the win. It'll be the 7 of Brian Schultz out of Zimmerman, Minnesota with a Schultz Synthetics entry. The rest of the field will follow across the line to wrap up the second main event for race 14, plus 30 snowcross, TSS 44600 Invitational.
Race 15 about to hit the track. Race 16, Ditchbanger Twins. Race 17, WSAX Open. And race 18, Almost a Pro Podin Invitational, should all be in staging.
440 improved and 600 improved on the track right now. Leading the charge is the 12 machine of Tucker Kempe. Right behind Tucker is the 726 of Lucas Halicki, and this is the way they ran 1-2 in the first main event. Rounding out the top three is the 24 of Scott Kempe,
who also finished third in the last main. So we are 1, 2, 3 as it currently stands from the previous session of main events here. But we do have that battle raging for second and third. Halicki wants it. Halicki has it. Kempe wants it, as there's only about a 2-sled differential between those two racers. Out front, though, and pulling away with a full straightaway advantage, it is the 12 of Tucker Kempe, who's been putting on an absolute clinic in this class all day long.
Picked up the heat race win earlier today as we got started at noon, and then was able to back that up with main number 1 win, and now he's at the front of the field to take the white flag in main number 2.
1 lap left to go for our WSAX 440 and 600 competitors. He's going to make his way down the Black Diamond Drop, go through the climb to make his way to the Send It Squeeze. As he won last time, turns on to the front straightaway here. Checkered flag is in his sights, and Tucker Kempe has completed a clean sweep in the WSAX 440 improved class.
That's the second main for race number 15, 440 improved and 600 improved. Our next second main will be race number 16, Ditchbanger Twins. Following this main, we'll have WSA Open 1990 to 203 Trail and WSAX Open 203 to 16 A-Arm. And then we will wrap up our Sunday Fun Day weekend with the final event of the day, the Almost a Pro Podin Invitational. But right now it's Ditchbanger Twins getting the green, and away they go.
We had a 4-wide moment, followed by a 3-wide battle, but out front alone, it is the 068 of Peyton Smith leading the charge on this group of Ditchbanger Twin racers.
There you see the 84 machine of Joshua Berg trying to work around the outside of some of the competition. Berg able to battle for position as the 7 machine crosses the line to complete another lap. Single file through the top 4, 5th on back. Anybody's game.
Nice battle raging for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th between 4 of our competitors there. Now kind of tightening up to a 3-sled battle as the 84 of Berg looks to the outside of one of our racers. Jumping into a tough block there. He's able to stay on all of his skis, but now it's a 3-wide battle drag race on the front stretch.
David Olson on the 321 trying to work to the outside. Now he does a crossover maneuver coming down the Hail Mary Highway and into the turn. Oh, they get together. A little thump there from the left front of the 321 into the 84. They're both able to race on, though.
The 28 of Dan Herzog trying to get into the mix there, had to go into a quick avoidance move. So he is now a little further back from that group, but out front it is still the 068 of Peyton Smith as he comes up on the rear end of the field.
Smith had that sled straight up and down, going vertical, jumping over the top of the lefty turn there, racing now to the line. Checkered flag is out. Peyton Smith from Montevideo, Minnesota is a main event winner on that Burmeister Auto Body River Valley Repair 068.
Race 17 up next. Only 2 races left to go for our first full weekend of events here at Steeplechase Ski Resort for the 2025-2026 Sunday Fun Day season. And your feature race winner last time around in the 2003-16 class was the 393 of Mitchell Fruth.
Racing in the 90 to 03 trail class, Tucker Kemp on the 1 machine, Connor Schultz with the 129, Colin Schultz on the 290, and Jaeger Cordes on the 731. A duo racing away from the start line, so we're missing a couple. Out front early, it will be the 393 of Mitchell Fruth.
Fruth took the win last time around. I believe he ended up finishing second in the heat race overall, as he did take the win as the lone competitor in the 03 to 16 A-arm class. But right now, he's right out front where we found him last time by in race number 17, holding about a 10 sled length advantage over his second place competitor.
Fruth racing with support from Crazy J's Bar and Grill, Engel Electric, GM Drilling, Rambler Truck and Trailer Repair, 213parts.com, B&B Built, also Double R Bar and Grill, Ritter Ranch, and Resman Repair. Oh, we've got trouble. The number 1 machine of Tucker Kemp off the sled. Tucker's going to try it. Pull it back to life as the 393 of Fruth sneaks by to put him a lap down.
Now, the interesting thing about this race here, even though Tucker Kemp is now a lap down, sitting in second place overall, he is currently the race leader as the lone competitor in the 90 to 03 trail class. So we do see both racers out here battling not only their position on the track overall, but taking the lead in their respective classes.
Once again at the east end of the Steeplechase Ski Resort Snowcross track, we see the 393 of Mitchell Fruth making his way down the Hail Mary Highway towards the finish line. Checkered flag is out. Fruth picks up another main event win.
Giving us a nice little wheelie up and over that start straightaway there to celebrate his final win for the weekend as we move in to our final race of the weekend, Almost a Pro Podin Invitational. Starting lineup is going to look like this. We have the 287 of Justin Hale, Travis Hogstad on the 34X, and the 129 of Jesse Arnold.
Caden Boehm on the 670 machine was able to win the first main event. There is the gate drop as they race away. That 670 machine of Boehm is going to be your early race leader. Look at that heavy traffic from third on back.
The 282 of Parker Hale finished second in the first main, took home the heat race win, and he's sitting second overall now, seeing if he might be able to draw in some competition there up at the front of the track. The 151 of David Raymond currently sitting in third place.
So your top 3 trying to build a little space. Back to the racers running fourth on back as they are side by side. The 281 of Troy Hale in a battle for position gives that spot away in the West End High Banks.
Single file throughout the field. Out front, though, and pulling away, it is the 670X machine, showing these racers how it's done. The 282 of Parker Hale sitting in second, about 10 sled lengths behind.
And the number 5 in the mix as well. There's some side-by-side action, the 129 and the 151. That's Jesse Arnold on the 129, David Raymond on the 151 machine. They're battling for position as they were elbow to elbow. Looks like that position battle has been decided as Arnold is able to take over that spot.
The 5 putting another lap in the books here as we make our way through the West End High Banks and down that Black Diamond drop on the northwest side of the track.
Believe unofficially the 5 machine holding on to the number 2 spot now behind your race leader, the 670. So there you see the 5 down at the east end, working out of the final turn onto the Hail Mary Highway main straight. Checkered flag is out. It will be the number 5 across the line.
The rest of the field going to follow in tow behind for our final main event of the race weekend. So, 2 days in here, we had round 1 yesterday, round 2 today. Dan, tell me, how do you feel going into the ending of this first race weekend for the Sunday Fun Day season?
Well, I'm beginning to thaw out. Temperatures getting a little better. Everybody here at the Steeplechase Ski Resort did our best to stay warm. Those of you at home, I hope that you enjoyed the furnace heat that was blowing out at you. But I tell you, I enjoyed the excitement. Can't wait to come back for rounds 3 and 4, which is scheduled for January 3rd and 4th.
We have lots of great racing action coming at you guys the rest of the season. January 3rd and 4th we'll be back here, along with January 17th, 18th, and February 21st and 22nd. On behalf of everyone here at X Racing and Steeplechase Ski Resort, MBTV Sports, my name is Zach Bailey, here with Dan Bailey, thanking you guys all for either coming out this weekend or live streaming the events on mbtvsports.com. We will be back January 3rd and 4th for more racing action. We hope to see you all then, and in the meantime, thank you all for stopping in. Drive safe on your way home, and remember, speeding is only for the racetrack. Make sure you drive safe. Good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
At AmRamp Accessibility, our goal is to help people, and that means providing them with the best quality product and service possible. Built with powder-coated steel, our ramps are stronger and longer lasting than those built with wood or aluminum. Installed in a matter of days to ensure your safety as quickly as possible, our teams are here for you.
I can get out.
Yeah, much easier. Better, a lot better. Yes, thank you.
I don't even have the words to explain how much easier it is. We're just so thankful for it, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Find your forward with AmRamp Accessibility today. Learn more at amramp.com.
Every great journey begins with a trusted guide. And when it comes to finding your perfect home, there's no one better than Kathy Vetter. With over 10 years of experience and a passion for real estate, Kathy Vetter helps you find the perfect home, a peaceful country retreat, a cozy single-family house, or your very first step toward a lifetime home. She also specializes in commercial real estate, guiding you through every step of the way. From the heart of the metro to the scenic countryside, Kathy Vetter knows the Minnesota market inside and out, committed to finding the perfect fit for you, no matter where you are. Buying your first home can feel overwhelming, but with Vetter by your side, it's a smooth and exciting journey. She makes first-time buyers feel confident, supported, and understood, every single step of the way. From your first showing to handing over the keys, Kathy Vetter works tirelessly to ensure you get the home you've always wanted. Kathy Vetter, your trusted real estate expert across Minnesota. From vibrant metro living to serene countryside escapes to agricultural and commercial spaces. Let her help you unlock the door to your next chapter.
Freight is the backbone of the country, and as long as people need goods, they're going to need somebody to get it to them. My name is Matt Bohl with QualityFreightRate.com, powered by T-Force Worldwide. We provide LTL, truckload, and expedited freight services across this country. If your freight weighs over 120 pounds going over 120 miles, that's where my shipping rates kick in. We help companies ship easier for less. With our system, our customers are able to quote and book shipments with ease 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're having trouble with damages, lost freight, claims of any sort, we can help you with our experience, solve the problem, tell you why it's happening and what you should do to prevent it in the future. Me and my team have been together for over 20 years. We know this industry. We can help all size business, big or small. We love them all, but we have a special spot for small business. Small businesses are pillars in the community. Low rates are critical for a small business because the margins are generally pretty small. They need to have competitive rates. They can't be getting gouged or they lose the sale. Freight is simple. People make it difficult. We work as consultants in the industry, so it doesn't matter what your problem is, we'll solve it. We educate the customers, we solve problems, and we lower their shipping rates. And that's what I've been doing for 20 plus years.
Painful steps shouldn't be part of your daily routine. At Foot and Ankle Clinics, PA, we specialize in diagnosing and treating a wide range of foot and ankle conditions, from heel pain and bunions to diabetic foot care and sports injuries. Our board-certified podiatrists, Dr. Jeff Pellersells and Dr. Russell John Hill, bring decades of experience and a compassionate approach to every patient. At our clinic, we are dedicated to serving the community with the highest level of care. Your well-being is our top priority. Serving the communities of Woodbury, West St. Paul, and Edina, we're committed to providing personalized care tailored to your needs. Don't let foot or ankle pain hold you back. Visit footandankleclinics.com to schedule your appointment today.
When you push your engine to the limit, on the track, the farm, or the highway, only one name delivers unmatched protection. Schaefer's specialized lubricants. With over 180 years of proven performance, professionals don't guess. They trust Schaefer's. And in our region, there's one guy who makes it happen. William Denzer. Racers, farmers, fleets. They all call William because he's reliable, knowledgeable, and gets results. So support the brands and people who support racing. Call William today, 651-253-0999, or email denzer.schaefer.sales@gmail.com. Schaefer's, trusted since 1839. Power in every drop.
My two passions in life is racing and selling good high-end meat. So my grandfather came here from Germany back in the late 20s. He decided to open his own shop in 1951. He had all the recipes, he had all the talent. His father was a meat guy. His father's father was a butcher. They weren't football players, basketball players. They were in the meat business. And that's our family. That's what we're good at. Old World Meats was derived from Frank's Meats. That was my grandfather's name. I know the quality of my beef is the best because I've purchased it directly from the ranchers that certified Angus beef. We know what our beef is continuously, and it's very consistent. So we're located up here in Duluth on beautiful Lake Superior, just a stone throw off of Highway 61. I've lived here my whole life, and it's where I wanted to raise my family. To be successful, you need to have a talent. And I knew I was going to be in the meat business. I can taste spices, I can pick out flavors, where they need to come in, where they need to stop. So knowing your strengths are important and knowing where you came from. We have a hot snack stick that's got actually 8 different spices of heat in that, and it layers the flavors in the heat. That's what makes the difference with our product. The most exciting part was becoming coast to coast with the Old World Meats snack sticks. My neighbor stopped me on the street and said, "Paul, I was just down in Georgia and this gas station had your product." It was one of the highlights of the year. I don't know of a state at this point that we haven't had product in. Being in business in a small town really puts things into perspective. It's the little things for me to be appreciated and respected. So this whole operation here, it doesn't have to be the biggest, but it needs to have passion. And today, I'm changing lives of people that work with me. My guys are learning lifelong skills and values. That's the good stuff. Let's make the world a better place. Let's have a good time at it.
Ready to make a splash this summer? Grab your friends and head to River's Edge on the scenic Apple River. Whether you're looking to float the day away, camp under the stars, or catch live music and weekend events, River's Edge has everything you need for an unforgettable time. Book your tube, campsite, or party package now. River's Edge on the Apple River. Your summer starts here.
Build has been a supporter of mine for a long time. I've always run Butler built seats ever I got into 410 sprint car racing, and I feel like they have the nicest aluminum seats out there. The craftsmanship, the welding on it is top notch, and now they're pouring my inserts and have the gravel cut seat and gives you a lot of clearance for your hybrid or your Hans, and I feel like, there's no better seat out there. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of feedback, right? These guys do it every day. So as me as a sprint car driver specifically, every form of dirt racing, the seats are built different. And guys like us, drivers are wearing holes in their hybrids because they're rubbing on the seats, and felt like there was a need for a little bit of a new design and a new generation of the Sprint Car Advantage seat. So yeah, it's been a fun ride, and hope to continue the relationship.